Hey everyone, welcome to episode 258 of the Sports Ballers Podcast. I'm Evan Ash, your host for this week. On tonight's show, the World Series matchup is set and will begin Friday, even though the Championship Series ended on Tuesday. We'll discuss the Diamondbacks and the Rangers. Eric will celebrate the start of the NBA season, and we'll break down our worst week ever of picking NFL games. We'll be back on the other side of the music. Hello and welcome to the latest edition of the Sports Ballers Podcast. I'm Evan Ash, joined as always by Corey Puffett and Eric Meyer. How are y'all doing today?
Doing pretty well.
Doing pretty good. Pretty good. Watched a little basketball last night. That was a refreshing sight to see for me.
Yeah, some meaningful basketball.
Real
Should
basketball,
count,
not summer league.
Oh, God.
Meaningful does a lot of work there, but it counts. It actually counts.
They
toward
count
the
in
record.
the standings
Yes.
to determine who makes the playoffs
Yes.
and where they're seated, and that therefore means it matters.
But what matters more is who's whining and who's fat and, who punched who and,
Who's present and who's not?
yeah.
Well, there's a lot of that going on. We only had 2 games last night, though. So
Oh,
you know.
I thought everybody was playing last night.
No, last night was the opener. A lot more teams are playing tonight. The Wizards play tonight. I think their game started at 7 o'clock. They're playing the
They just
Pacers.
started. They're probably
so,
gonna
yeah.
lose.
They're
Are the
probably-
Pacers good?
They're okay.
The Wizards are terrible.
The
I do
Wizards
know
are
that.
probably worse than the Pacers, so I would expect the Wizards to lose. But yeah,
Okay.
Great.
Let's just get started. We already started talking about the NBA, so let's just keep it rolling there. So I can absolutely not fill in the information I should have by now. So Eric, what happened in the NBA? Enlighten our audience of 2 about what happened in the association.
well, there were only 2 games, so while you're making up for lost time here by not filling stuff
pick
up,
me, pick me.
Corey.
The Lakers stink. Somebody's got to say it.
Well, they did lose. So for the 6th straight time, they've lost to the Denver Nuggets after getting swept out of the playoffs last year. So not great
the
for them.
Lakers stink when they play the Nuggets.
That I feel like that's most teams now, though, because the Nuggets are really good. They're the defending champions for a reason. But yeah, the first game, like the Lakers kind of talked some ish this offseason after Mike Malone said some things during the parade, and LeBron seemed to get offended, and Anthony Davis said something about, we're taking everything personally or something like that, like we're in the last dance again. And that lasted for about an hour, right? Like Anthony Davis came out and balled for the first half. He scored 17 points. He kept the Lakers in the game while they were just getting dominated otherwise. They couldn't make a shot to save their lives. And then he was held scoreless in the second half.
Ooh.
Yeah, so not what you were counting on seeing from him. LeBron only played 29 minutes. Honestly, I don't know what to expect from him this year. He's in year 21. We know that he's still good when, in spurts, like we saw last playoffs, but presumably he's healthier coming into this year than he was at the end of last year. He had the foot injury that he was playing through. But, LeBron had his moments, especially in transition yesterday, but he's just not the same impact player for 35, 36 minutes a night like he used to be. And the best player in the world played for the other team, and it showed. Jokic was great.
There are some new rules this year regarding load management, something about like star players, however they're defining star player. They have to play like a minimum number of games. I'm assuming that there are exceptions for legitimate injuries, but like it seems like a bit of a difficult thing to enforce because somebody could just put him on the injury report, for whatever reason. But how do you think that these new load management rules are going to affect a player like LeBron, if at all?
I don't think it'll affect LeBron one bit because the main incentive is that you mentioned the minimum games. That has to do with postseason awards. Has to do with like all NBA selections, MVP, Defensive Player of the Year. You have to meet a certain threshold to qualify for those. I don't think LeBron James gives a rat's ass about making his 20th All-NBA team. I'm sure he's fine with 19. Okay, he's not going to go out there, I got to play tonight. Really got to play or else I'm going to be left off the third team All-NBA. Like, come on.
20 is objectively cooler than 19.
Of course it is, but like the point is that LeBron isn't interested in chasing MVPs. I don't think he's all that interested in chasing scoring titles or anything like that anymore.
Who are some players in the NBA you would say this will impact and potentially negatively impact their performance or negatively impact their health?
I don't think it'll negatively impact anybody, to be honest. I thought that load management was always a little bit of nonsense. I think that you're better off when you play as much as possible. I thought you saw more injuries as a result of players not being up for handling a full season's worth of work, especially in the playoffs when you're playing every other night at high intensity. And they had the science, right? The science came out and said, oh, the thing we said about load management, how it keeps players healthy? Actually, it doesn't, which, again, conveniently timed as they're trying to get rid of it. But,
right.
I don't think it's going to make a huge difference. These are professional athletes. They can play 82 games if they need to. We've seen, even as some players have embraced load management, we've seen guys like James Harden and Russell Westbrook play pretty much every game at a high level, and it didn't affect them. And those guys relied, especially Russell Westbrook, relied a lot on explosiveness, and he was still able to go out there and give you 80 games a year. So I don't think it really will move the needle a ton. I think the guys you got to worry about are guys that are chronically hurt, guys like Anthony Davis, guys like Kawhi Leonard, who, Kawhi Leonard's kind of the poster child of load management because he has degenerative issues. So he might be affected by it, but at the same time, he's been around the block a million times. He's not going to sweat it if he misses an All-NBA team because he missed a few too many games. So I wouldn't really sweat it that much. I'm not worried about load management at all. I think that, the more often we get to see the star players, the better. And I'd be surprised if you could really say there was any repercussions for it in a negative way.
Okay. Not to jump in here as the host this week. Obviously, that's Evan's job this week. But
he's busy.
I'm very curious to get your thoughts about that Suns Warriors game. It was all West Coast teams in action yesterday, and the Warriors had they were up by 6 after the third quarter.
Yep.
They had a huge third quarter. They scored 40 points in the third quarter.
Yeah, they dominated the third after they were behind 15 going into the half.
And then they got outscored by 10 in the fourth quarter and blew the game. What happened there for the Warriors?
I mean, it was just kind of a sloppy game overall, right? I wouldn't say that the Warriors necessarily kicked the Suns' teeth in so much just in the third quarter with their offense. It was mostly their defense making it happen. They forced a lot of turnovers. They really shut down Kevin Durant. It was just a matter of all night the Warriors were not hitting shots, right? Klay Thompson was a brick all game. Steph was off as well, shooting the 3-ball, and he got into foul trouble, which kind of took him out of his rhythm. He kind of got going early in the first quarter, and a funny little situation popped up. I have complained frequently on this podcast about Steve Kerr's rotations, particularly as it pertains to Wardell, Stephen Curry, about how he doesn't let him finish the first quarter. Well, Steph hit a layup to give, I think, the Warriors a quick lead in late in the first quarter, and Kerr goes to take him out with about 3 minutes to go in the first, and new guy Chris Paul looks at Steve Kerr and he yells at him, "Are you sure about this? You sure this is a good idea to take him out right now?" And it wasn't a good idea, but Kerr's gonna Kerr, so that's what happened. Honestly though, overall I was more encouraged by what I saw from Golden State, even though they lost, just because they did the things in a few ways that I didn't think they could do anymore. They played great defense. Now, their size caught up to them again. They couldn't rebound. Draymond not being there really didn't help that. But the fact that their defense was locked in, at least on the first cut, when the Suns were in their half-court offense, that was a good sign to me. The fact that Andrew Wiggins, and you mentioned him last week, Gary Payton II was all over the place yesterday. He played a great game. Their best players just didn't make shots. Andrew Wiggins blew a bunch of layups. Klay couldn't get his shot going. Those are things that, is Klay going to be consistent? No. But is he always going to be bad? No. And is Andrew Wiggins going to miss 7 layups a game? Probably not. And is Steph going to go 3 of 12 from 3 every game? Not even close. So from that perspective, they impressed me a little bit. The best player on the floor for them was Chris Paul last night. Even though he struggled with his shot a little bit, we know that he can hit those mid-range jump shots, and that's going to come around. It's just a matter of what happens when they go up against a team with size. And that's not something the Suns do, right? The Suns have Kevin Durant as their tallest player, and he does not play like a big man. So, that's that's something that's going to be an issue for them when they have to face a team like the Lakers or the Nuggets. That I think that's going to catch up with them. But I think that they're going to be fine. I think they're going to be a solid playoff team this year.
Does DeAndre Ayton play like a big man? And, is this like when the Raiders got rid of Khalil Mack and Gruden was talking about pass rushers being hard to find?
I mean, DeAndre Ayton doesn't really have the defensive chops of a typical big man, but he works in the post, and he's consistently been a problem for Golden State in the past when he played for the Suns. Now, Yusuf Nurkic is not DeAndre Ayton offensively. He played a pretty solid game yesterday, but I don't think that the Suns are all that concerned because Ayton was a problem child, right? Like, he wanted out. They alienated him. He became disgruntled as a result, and he needed to be traded. That's bad management, and they're going to pay for it, I think, but it's not as simple as, we got rid of a good player for no reason. They got rid of him because that player wasn't playing well for them because he didn't want to anymore.
Okay.
Oh. We do have a couple of, mailbag questions, so I guess we can...
Yes, from Rashonda.
Yeah, on the topic of the NBA.
Victor Wembanyama, did he play?
Well, they haven't played. The Spurs have not had a game yet.
2 games yesterday: Nuggets, Lakers, and Suns, Warriors.
Yeah.
Victor Wembanyama does not play for any of those teams.
Right. He's on the Spurs?
He's on the Spurs, and they're playing tonight against Dallas at 10 o'clock on ESPN.
But Rashonda's wondering about your thoughts on Wemby this year. Obviously, we kind of talked last week just very briefly about, Rookie of the Year, he's pretty much a lock. I brought up Scoot Henderson, and then we saw some clips from preseason action. I'm like, all right, I take that back. It's Wemby. It's always going to be Wemby. It was always going to be Wemby.
I mean, Scoot could still win, right? Scoot's good.
No, he can't win.
Okay.
He's good, but he can't win.
You're giving up on Scoot already. That's cold, Corey.
Wembanyama would have to get hurt and miss 81 of the games of this season. If he plays 2 games this year, he's the Rookie of the Year.
Okay, well, he's going to be off to a good start then tonight. Hopefully he's able to survive. But yeah, I'm excited to see what he does in actual live action. We saw him in the preseason, but preseason doesn't mean anything. But yeah, I think that he's going to be.
He dunks from outside of the circle.
Yeah, on my guy Thomas Bryant, and he looked bemused at best by what happened to him. But I think it's going to be interesting to see just how many shots he blocks this year, because some players kind of get a bad rap as big men in the paint because they don't block shots, but a lot of times they don't block shots because people know already. Don't challenge them. Like, we've seen Anthony Davis deter people from even taking layups in the paint, and he doesn't even have to go over and block them because they know if they try it, he's going to come over and swat it. Wembanyama has not been calibrated for yet because we just haven't seen somebody that tall and that long in the NBA.
Yeah.
We're seeing a little bit of the Morgan Wooten strategy when they had to defend Lou Alcindor, where they're literally using a tennis racket to simulate his extra length. And that's in the NBA. That's with other guys who are 7 foot tall. So I think that people are going to challenge him, and it's going to be a not pleasant experience for them when he rejects all their shots. So, curious to see how he does there. I think offensively, he's got some work to do. He's a 19-year-old kid, and he's got Bambi limbs, right? Like, he's got some handles, but
he's all knees and elbows.
Yeah, but he's got some handles. He's got some skills for a guy that tall and that lanky. But it's the NBA. Like, this is the best league in the world. You're not going to be able to just pull all the tricks out like you did wherever else you were playing. People are going to figure it out a little bit, but I think his defensive presence, if he is able to turn the Spurs into a very good defensive team overnight, because the Spurs were very bad defensively last year, if he comes in there and suddenly they're like a top 10 defense because he's anchoring them, which is a real possibility. The best defensive players do have that kind of impact. Then, yeah, he's a lock to win Rookie of the Year, and I'll be curious to see how well the Spurs actually do as a team this year, because they're figuring to be an outside looking in playoff team, but maybe they could swipe a play-in spot. We'll see.
Alrighty. I guess let's talk about baseball. So the Texas Rangers and the not Philadelphia Phillies, as we had assumed, the Rangers and the Arizona Diamondbacks.
I could not be more happy about the outcome of those 2 series.
We're in the World Series. Yeah. Why are you so happy about this?
Because he doesn't like the Astros or the Phillies.
Astros, and I don't like the Phillies. Why do you think I hate the Astros?
Because they always send the Yankees packing for the last 7 years.
Oh, that's true.
They eliminated him 3 times.
And the Phillies play in Philadelphia, so
I thought the Phillies were fun.
They were fun, and then
they can be fun.
and now they're not
while also
playing
and
playing in the wrong
someone
city.
turned the power off all of a sudden. Like, what happened to them?
I don't know. They stopped hitting the ball.
They fell off. I don't know what to make of it. I mean, this on paper is not a thrilling matchup, right?
No.
Like, we're not talking about an established dynasty almost in the Astros, or a typical blue blood team like the Yankees or the Dodgers or somebody like that being
That's
here.
what makes it more interesting.
Sure,
I hate it when people say that.
and the Rangers are good, right? They're a really good team, and they would be a deserving champion if they were to win. Diamondbacks, 84-win team.
I'm rooting hard for the Diamondbacks.
Oh no, I can't stand that. Like that makes me sick to my stomach. The idea of an 84-win team winning the World Series. Just please.
The Diamondbacks were very strong for the first several months of the season.
And then what
And then
happened?
they were terrible.
Yeah.
Didn't they have some injuries though?
I don't care.
Okay,
They won
so-
84 games. Like, come
Some
on.
injuries, some injuries would mean the whole team got injured and they had to call up their AAA team to play. That would be an acceptable excuse for just falling off the wagon completely.
The Rangers lost their best pitcher.
They are back on
in
the
April.
wagon.
Yes.
They are back on the wagon.
I'm just, I don't know. I can't deal with the Diamondbacks. I will be rooting for the Rangers in this World Series, which of course means that the Diamondbacks are going to win. But people have talked about the playoff format. They've beaten it to death at this point. I don't think it really matters, but it is worth noting that the 6th seed got to play the easiest opponent. They got to face the weakest division winner, which is why we're here.
Yes.
Right? Like, that's a ridiculous way of operating.
What?
That's the 6th seed in the wild card round plays the worst division winner,
The 3 seed.
the 3 seed,
Why?
because the 3 seed is the division winner. The 4 and the 5 are wild card teams, and the 1 and the 2 get bye weeks.
Oh, well, I mean, okay, sure. So you're playing.
Major
Yeah.
League Baseball is assuming that all 3 division winners
Right, are
in
gonna
each
be
league
better
are going to
than-
be competent.
Yes.
Are going to be better than all 3 wild card
Yeah, and
teams, which
this
often is not the case.
Yes, it's frequently not the case, and it's silly that baseball couldn't figure this out when football has basically figured a lot of things like reseeding out.
Yeah.
Basketball have figured this out where they just basically said, "Damn, division doesn't matter. That's just for scheduling."
Yep.
So it was silly that the team that just got handed a playoff spot, 2 years ago, we're just like, hey, we're going to add another team, and we're also going to make your path easier than it should be to get here.
Yeah.
Like, I find the entire thing to be just off, right? Like, the Diamondbacks obviously did what they needed to do by beating the Dodgers. They had no business beating the Phillies, but they found a way to do it, so you got to give them credit for that. But I just, again, 84-win team, can't do it. Can't do it.
I mean, all they needed to do was get invited to the postseason, and they did. And then they performed well, right? Like,
So 2 weeks of good baseball just mitigates the fact that they were a 500 team basically for the year?
I mean,
We're just supposed to not care about that now?
I guess so. Like, they showed up to the postseason and won. What are you gonna do about it? Right? Are you going on strike or something?
The obvious thing to do is never going to happen. They need to contract the playoffs.
Oh, well, yeah.
But they're not going to do that because they like money too much.
Mm-hmm.
But I wonder, though, if this keeps happening where these uninteresting teams that nobody wants to see in the World Series keep making it and the ratings suck, is that little bit of revenue left over from a couple more games worth it?
I mean, I'm sure the owners will say yes, but, like, the baseball owners are the type of people who need to be slapped in the face a couple times, metaphorically, before they figure out what's right in front of them. Like, they're just... The sport itself is slow to change, so the fact they change something, I feel like this is going to stick around before they even consider changing it back.
You're probably right, but anyway, yeah, go Rangers, and I agree 100% with you about the fact that the World Series isn't starting till Friday.
Yeah, what are we doing?
Especially because it's not like these series ended early. They both went 7.
Yes.
So this is planned.
A planned 2-game break.
They did this during the wild card round where they had 2 days off. It's the smack in the middle of your postseason where you're supposed to take center stage of the sports world, and you've got multiple days where your sport is not active.
Yeah.
Make it make sense.
And there's no NFL tonight either.
The World Series could go till November 4th, and they chose to do it this way. Like, when Derek Jeter hit the home run at midnight on November 1st, that only happened because there was a national tragedy that delayed the season for a week. Right? 9/11 happened, and then so we had to push the season for a week, so the postseason got started late. That's the only reason that happened. Now we're just, like, volunteering to have November baseball.
We, at one point, we moved the start of the season earlier where it was, still freezing cold out. It was even more freezing cold than it usually was at the start of the season, specifically to avoid November baseball, and now we're right back there.
No, that's not why they moved. They moved the start of the season up because the players were complaining they didn't have enough off days during the season. So they just made the season a little longer and a little longer. They keep stretching it out, but having the same number of games.
Having to watch the Orioles play.
Keep opening up in Boston on March 27th. It's unbelievable. Why is Boston playing any home games before April 20th?
It should be like the when the New York Islanders had their new arena opening and they had to play their first 16 games on the road. They didn't play a home game for 6 weeks.
Oh, wow.
That was something else.
Oh, because the arena was behind schedule?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't even know that place opened yet.
Yeah, it opened, yeah.
Okay. I feel like the Phillies, they were handed a golden opportunity and they blew it.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to them. They were the talk of the postseason. Everybody was hitting all these dingers, Schwarber and Harper and Alec Boehm.
And Stott.
And Stott just crushing dingers, and their pitching was good. Aaron Nola and Zach Wheeler. Everybody was pitching well. Everybody was hitting well, and then suddenly nothing. Mm-hmm. That's ball, though.
Yeah.
Just overnight.
That's
Bryce
the
Harper.
Orioles.
Bryce Harper got 2 pitches yesterday,
I saw last night he took a meatball right down the middle.
Yeah, he got 2 meatballs right down the middle. One of them he took, and the other one he feebly popped out on. And I'm like, 2 nights ago, Harper would have hit that ball 460 feet. Mm-hmm. But not tonight.
Yeah.
And so, losers.
Yeah, you could. It's the playoffs. You got to perform, or you get sent home.
Yeah.
Anything else on baseball? I don't have anything.
No. That's all I've got.
Alrighty. On to college football.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and of course we start with Big Noon Saturday. Number 6 Oklahoma at Kansas this week on Big Noon Saturday.
Should be a super exciting matchup.
Is that still ranked Kansas?
Unranked Kansas.
Oh, they're not ranked anymore? Oh, that's too bad. Weren't they ranked at one point this year?
They were, yeah.
Now not.
They're just not the worst team in college football anymore.
They're not.
Congratulations.
They're not instant firing if you lose, like for Charlie Strong.
Yes.
When he lost to Kansas at Texas, they're like, "You got to go, buddy. You're not even allowed to show up for." I don't even know if they made a bowl game that year, but he was like, "No, you can't be here. You got to go."
Yeah, they gotta go. Also on Fox, number 8 Oregon at 13 Utah.
State.
Just Utah.
State.
What?
It says state in the notes.
Well, it should just be Utah.
Yeah.
That's at 3:30 on Fox. I don't know where Utah State. Who typed that in?
Wasn't me.
Yeah. Also 3:30. Number 20 Duke at 18 Louisville on ABC.
Go Duke.
Yeah, and then, interestingly enough, number 17 North Carolina at definitely unranked Georgia Tech at 8 o'clock on ACC Network.
Pound the Yellow Jackets.
On the CW.
I don't know what the spread is, but pound the Yellow Jackets.
I don't know what the spread is. I know I'm going to be there, and
oh, you guys are going?
yeah.
Yes.
Fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's the whole reason we're going down there.
And to ride Air Force One.
Yeah,
but,
that too.
Gonna check out the Yellow Jackets. Can we please not suck for 5 minutes? I think we beat North Carolina last year. We went to their place.
So y'all should definitely win this year.
Well, North Carolina's coming off a loss. They lost to
Also Miami, right? Was it Miami?
I thought they lost to someone bad.
They lost to Virginia. That's right.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Virginia.
Who the Terps waylaid Virginia like 42-14 or something like that. Just absolutely creamed them. By the way, the Terps play Northwestern at noon on the road this week. So
Lil Noon Saturday.
Little noon Saturday, yeah. In Evanston or whatever that place is called.
So yeah, we will be down there checking out the Yellow Jackets and walking around on campus and trying to figure out what we're going to do all day long until the game starts at 8 o'clock.
Hey, a week from tonight.
That's your stomping ground, so you're telling me what to do.
A week from
I don't know
tonight,
what to do.
on
Magic
episode
City?
259 of the Sports Ballers podcast, we'll get to talk about the first college football rankings, or college football playoff rankings.
Oh yeah, that's
Yes,
right. That is
the
next week.
first
They come out
CFP.
next Tuesday.
Yeah.
On Halloween.
Yeah.
Unless I'm missing something. Let's just talk about this now. Rashonda also asks, what is the best sports city over the past 30 years, and what is the best one all time? For me, I'll say 30 years, it's Boston, and I think that's pretty obvious. And then all time, I'll say New York, just because they've had so many teams. And all of them have had good runs at some point.
I think it's hard to argue against Boston recently. I mean, obviously, when you're talking 30 years, that covers, an additional 10 years before the start of the Patriots dynasty. But, like, when you have a football team who is that dominant for 2/3 of that time frame, and it's not like the Bruins didn't win titles during that time.
Yeah, they won a Stanley Cup.
I think the Celtics,
Celtics
they
won a
won
title.
Anything is
title
possible
during that time.
Yeah, and the Red Sox won 4 World Series.
Yeah, the Red Sox won 4 World Series. So, it would be very difficult to imagine another sports town holding a candle to that over our lifetime.
Right, like the Yankees won 5 World Series in that stretch, but the
Sure.
Knicks have been cheeks
Yeah.
our entire
The
lives.
Giants won a couple of Super Bowl titles, like over Boston, over New England,
That's true,
but 2 versus all
yeah,
of
and
the Patriots
Rangers
titles.
the Rangers won in 1994, so that barely fits in. But
Right, and they've been competitive during much of that span, but
So have the Bruins,
but
yeah.
it doesn't matter if you're not actually coming home with the hardware. So
yeah, it's Boston.
yeah,
for
it's
the last
Boston
30.
for the past 30 years. When you're talking all time, yeah, you have to consider New York. But I think you also have to throw the Bay Area in there as a contender. I mean, the San Francisco Giants have won some World Series. A lot of them have been recent, but still, you have the
All
49ers.
of them have been recent.
You have the 49ers who have been amazing. You have the Raiders have had really strong seasons if you're thinking all time, including time that they were in Oakland.
The A's have won World Series.
Yeah.
We know the Warriors
The
have
Warriors
won.
are-
They sucked for 40 years, but they had the Wilt years, and then they've had the Curry,
Right.
Durant, Thompson, Green years. So yeah,
Wilt played for the Warriors when they were in California.
for 1 year, and then he went back to Philly. I don't think he actually won a title for them though. I don't think he actually won a title for the Warriors. He won with the Sixers and won with the Lakers. But so the Warriors moved to San Francisco from Philadelphia in the middle of Wilt's career. He played 1 year on the West Coast and then got traded to the Sixers and won a title there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Trying
think
to
San
think who
Francisco,
else
the
you
Bay
would-
Area is a good pick, actually.
Yeah, the Bay Area definitely has a lot of good teams that have had success over the course of decades.
Yeah.
Outside of them, I mean, you have some cities that have had strong spurts and certainly isolated championships. Pittsburgh is they had a whole decade of dominance from the Steelers. They've had you have Chicago, which has had. I'm sorry. I'm saying Chicago, but I mean Detroit. As far as the Red Wings, they had a long stretch of success. But you look at other teams in those cities, and the Tigers haven't done a whole lot. The Lions have done nothing. You look at Chicago, and the Cubs have done more or less nothing for the past century.
The Bears have
And
not.
also
the
add
Bears
the
have
White
done a
Sox,
whole
who've
lot of
done
nothing.
even
The
less
White
than the
White Sox
Cubs.
have somehow done less than the Cubs during that time frame.
And the thing is, their big selling point is the Bulls.
Right.
But the Bulls had 1 8-year stretch where they were good, and they've sucked ever since.
Yeah, and
like
they sucked for
pre-Jordan
all
and
eternity before
post-Jordan,
that.
they've
Yes,
sucked.
yes.
So they had the one time where they had this guy, and other than that, they've been horrible.
Right.
So.
You have Dallas, which has had stretches of success from the Cowboys, but over the past 20, 30 years, they've done nothing.
The Rangers
and
haven't
they
won
don't
anything.
have,
Haven't
they
won
don't- and they
anything.
have a whole lot of nothing outside of them.
Didn't the Dallas Stars win the Stanley Cup or something?
Yeah, they've won a cup before, and the Mavericks won one championship. So
When Cuban had the trophy in his bed and tweeted about it.
yes, and used some profanity on live TV, talking to Hannah Storm about how they punked the Miami Heat fans in Game 6.
Oh, okay.
Now let me ask you,
Saw that live.
just in terms of fans, right? Take championships out of it. What is the best sports town in America? Just in terms of like they have such great like spirit for their teams.
Well, that'd be Philly. 'Cause those people are crazy.
Those people are nuts. Yeah, like
If yeah, fair. If you are in on it, then for sure. But what about like a sports city that has that sort of energy, but does not alienate literally any outsider?
or insiders. Let's be real.
Or
Like Philadelphia
insiders,
has
that's
made some
true.
enemies among their own.
That
Like
is
let's
true.
call it what it is. Like Alec Boehm basically came out and said he hated the place and became a fan favorite because of it, which is hilarious. But
And I would say like you need to have more than one team in the city to
Sure.
like to qualify. So like Buffalo, I think could like definitely has that sort of energy.
They have a
But they
hockey team.
only have the Bills.
They have
they
the
got the
Sabres.
Sabres too.
Oh yeah, there is the Buffalo Sabres.
Yeah, they're not
Does anyone
relevant.
really care about the Buffalo
The
Sabres?
Sabres
in
have
Buffalo?
been bad for about as long as the Bills have consistently.
But
So
I feel
yeah.
like the Bills have consistently had more like support from.
Well,
the
that's
fan
because they're a
base.
football team,
Yeah.
right? Like football's king, right? But like the Sabres, when they had Dominic Hasek back in the '90s, that
We're supposed to know who that is.
I know who that is
That
because
could be anybody.
because the
You just
Capitals.
made
It could
up a
also be nobody. He
hockey-sounding
might have
name.
just made it up.
Yeah, I totally made it up. Well, the Capitals had to go through him when they made their Stanley Cup Finals run in 1998, and they managed to pull that off. But I think he also played for the Red Wings for a couple of their Stanley Cup runs as well.
This guy's a goalie?
Yes.
Okay.
Netminder, as they
Netminder.
call him, yes. But, I obviously have to throw my guys in the ring. The New Orleans Saints fan base is strong, and the Pelicans haven't really had an opportunity to embrace that because they've been pretty terrible their entire run. But,
Right.
they have that spirit without quite the same level of toxicity that we associate with Philadelphia.
I feel like you have to take your own team out of it, though. Because, like,
Yeah, 'cause
you're-
I'm a
that's
homer.
But they're
objective.
also sort of in the same boat as the Bills for me.
Yeah, they kind of fit the
it's-
same mold, yeah.
It's a town that's certainly very passionate about one of their sports teams, but
Yeah.
they don't necessarily have the same passion outside of them.
I mean, Philly is the one that stands out just because they're nuts, right? Like, people want to say, like, New York, but New York's got 8 million people in it.
Yeah.
It's like a 20 million
They also
person
have
metropolitan
so many
area.
teams. Like they have multiple teams in their city in each sport.
Sure.
Like they have 2 football teams. They have 3 basketball teams, right? They have,
No.
or-
They have 2 basketball teams, 3 hockey teams.
yeah, 2 basketball teams, 3 hockey teams.
So we're counting the Devils as New York.
They're in Newark, yeah.
Okay.
basically, I mean,
That's
the
like
Giants
2
and the Jets
miles
play
away
in
from-
New Jersey.
No, I agree. I'm just,
From
some
MetLife Stadium.
some people might take umbrage with the suggestion that the Devils are a New York team.
All right. Well, even if
Well,
you throw them out, it's still 2.
Are they a
It's
Philly
still
team?
2.
Like, what are we talking about
They're
here?
a Jersey team. Maybe they're just a Jersey
You
team.
also have 2 baseball teams, so like you have 2 in every sport, even if you just throw away New Jersey, right? So like,
Throw away New Jersey.
which I mean, we probably should anyway.
Jersey's an underrated state.
New Jersey
it?
is underrated.
Is it?
I've
has
enjoyed my
anybody-
time
I
in New
don't-
Jersey.
I am convinced that that all of New Jersey does not actually exist except for what is like in view while you are on the Jersey Turnpike. I'm convinced that the rest of the state is just
You didn't
made
go to Coast and Danny Ocean then,
Yeah,
where we
Wildwood
had
was
a
a good
great
time.
time.
Wildwood was excellent. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
You should have been. You should have came with us.
Yeah,
I would,
Endless
throw
beer.
St. I would throw St. Louis.
Oh no,
St. Louis.
I was about
It's
to cut
disappointing
across.
because
I don't want to hear about the Cardinals.
But like,
No, don't tell me about the Cardinals. I'm
No.
tired. I'm tired of
I can't
best fans in
stand-
baseball. My ass.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
say necessarily based.
That's what they declare themselves all the time. We're the best fans in baseball. Like, based on what?
Chiefs fans call themselves the best fans in football.
Well, I don't like them either.
Yeah,
They
I
booed
mean,
unity. So
They did.
They
I'm
did
kinda
boo
tired of it,
unity.
so.
When you spend so much time smooching your own butt cheeks, it's kind of reveals that
You're not
you're
as
not,
good as you think. Yeah.
what you're saying isn't valid.
I mean, shout out to the Oakland fans though for having a reverse boycott. That was
That
fun.
was great.
Just pretty good.
Yeah.
And we know that they've got a strong, passionate fan base for the Warriors too. Like the Roracle
do.
days, like even before Steph showed up, and they sucked for 40 years. They still packed that arena. The We Believe Warriors with Baron Davis when they beat the Mavericks in the first round. That was nuts.
I mean, the
Nuts.
Raiders would sell out their games,
Yeah.
and the A's were in the playoffs. They get 70,000 people at a baseball game.
Yeah.
Let me throw out one more possibility. What about Cincinnati?
Cincinnati.
I had a good time with the Reds game. That was fun.
I feel like they're pretty.
Well, you
gosh
did
up
not
the
have a
Reds
good
and the
time. You were
Bengals.
having a fit.
Well, yeah, because the Orioles were, blowing a game to the terrible Reds.
Yeah, that's true.
Baltimore has some passionate fans too.
You don't like Ravens fans, though.
I hate Ravens fans. I think that they're some of the dumbest football fans in the world. But
Oh, okay.
not present company.
Have you met
excluded.
any Dallas fans in your life? You met any of those people yet? Who don't even know what a football is? They're just like, oh, well, we're America's team, so that's good enough. Like,
All right, I think we've
know,
gone down this.
I
rabbit
feel like
hole
if
long
you're a
enough.
Dallas fan, you're not from Dallas. You're a clown. Just throwing that out there.
A lot of Cowboys fans from this area.
Yeah. And they're-
For
a reason.
historically good reason.
Yes,
Yeah, like,
yes.
understandably.
yeah.
Because the franchise that occupies the district or whatever, Raljon or whatever, certainly earned a lot of contempt both in the past and in the present. So
Still rooting for Dallas, though. You could pick anybody else.
yeah, you pick the team that the team that has scorned you hates. That's the perfect team to pick.
Oh.
And they win. Or they won.
They won.
Let's just say that. It's not like the Durs have won anything since the Cowboys stopped winning either. So they've been worse.
They have been. Yes, the Cowboys are consistently 8-8, basically.
Can't do that anymore.
August 8th every year, Cowboys
I thought
Day.
that was Jeff Fisher Day.
Now he's 7-9. That's his
Oh.
thing.
Yeah,
The all-time leader
that's
in losses.
July 9th. There you go.
Belichick's gonna catch him.
Yes. Is Belichick going to catch Don Shula in wins?
I think he's gonna hold out until he does, but it could take him like 10 years.
It's going to be a
Is he going to do it with the Patriots? Is the
it's going to be a
question.
Connie Mack situation.
Honestly, I'm gonna say no. I think
don't think
I think
so
Kraft
either.
gets rid of him before. He's not gonna tolerate this nonsense that is the Patriots. They suck so bad.
Kraft already doesn't really like Bill Belichick.
Yeah, he has always had a little bit of a strained relationship with him. The relationship got more strained when Bill was trying to get Tommy out of there, and Kraft had to basically tell him no and slap his hand and said Jimmy G sucks somewhere else. So like he's not really gonna be sitting there. Okay, well I gotta keep this guy forever. No, he doesn't have to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Connie Mack was the A's owner as well as the manager, so he wasn't going to get fired because he was the boss.
He cuts his own checks. So,
Yeah,
That's fun.
yeah. So he's the all-time leader in wins and losses. He's got like 4,000 losses. He just lose all the games.
That's a lot of losses.
Yeah,
That's pretty tough.
yeah. What's that? 100 losses a year for
40
40
years.
years? Yeah, yeah. That's
But you said he
brutal.
also has the all-time record for wins, which means he had to have won a lot of games.
He won like 3,000 games, but he lost like 4,000.
That's tough.
Because again, he was the owner, so he was just
Imagine being 1,000 games under 500.
yeah. Alrighty, on to the NFL.
Yes.
So Corey and I had a little something, I guess. The Ravens hosted the Detroit Lions, who were the darling team of America or whatever.
Yeah, and the Ravens were 3-point favorites, and we all looked at that line and we were like, that's wrong. Pound the Lions.
Yeah.
It was wrong.
The Ravens also pounded the Lions, 38-6.
Yeah, we got our asses handed to us. I'm
that was-
sitting
that
there
was-
just
that
watching
was
the TV,
ugly.
completely beside myself. Lamar, stop it.
Yeah.
He's killing my real team, and he's killing my fantasy team because I'm playing against Brandon Saunders.
Oh wow.
Oh, my God.
Man, when they got that second touchdown, I think it was on like that 4th and 1 little run play. I was like, okay, this game's over. Like it's the Ravens' day.
Oh,
They're
just
gonna
like,
do
no
that thing where
way.
Lamar just goes
Yeah.
out there and is the best player in the history of football for
Yeah.
a game, and and you're just not gonna win.
Amazingly, Lamar was not the best player by DYAR this
I
year.
don't care. He was the best player by my
Who
eyeballs.
was better than Lamar?
Exactly.
Come
Who
on.
was that? Patrick Mahomes against
Mahomes
the
is also really
Chargers.
Mahomes, yeah, but he was playing a worse team.
And yet,
Playing
still,
against Brandon Staley,
and yet
that shouldn't
still, even with defense adjusted, he was.
But
he
is
had
it
more
stupid
DYR.
coach adjusted?
I don't know if it's stupid coach adjusted.
Well, the DVOA of the Chargers is the stupid coach is baked in. So
okay.
They need to bake in some more of that.
Yeah, basically.
maybe you need to
based on your
up the
decisions and
sliders
whether you're
of how much the
successful,
coach
yes.
impacts the stat.
Yeah,
Because he's a dummy.
yeah.
Looks terrible with that beard too.
Oh.
Cannot overstate how bad he looks with that beard.
I don't.
The
care
man's
about his
40
beard.
years old. He looks like he's 60. he looks ridiculous.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely
He
ridiculous.
looks like
This
he should
from the
be-
guy with a
he-
head
he-
full of gray hair
Yes.
sitting here.
Yes.
He looks like he should be in the remake of Miracle on 34th Street.
See, the thing is, my gray hair is on my head. It's not in my beard. If I had the luxury of just shaving a gray beard so nobody would know that I have a gray beard, I would do it. But I don't have a gray beard, so I don't have to do that.
Okay.
Brandon Staley opted to grow a gray beard, once again showing he lacks self-awareness and can't make good decisions. He should not be coaching.
Anyway, yeah, Lamar was great. I think Ronnie Stanley's still blocking that guy. Just into oblivion
Just treating
somewhere.
him like a blocking sled.
Yes,
just pushing
just
and pushing.
all
and
the
pushing.
way to the
Ronnie Staley was not
Stanley.
in that.
Ronnie Stanley.
Ronnie Stanley was not in that game. Michael Orr came back, put on a Ravens uniform. He's like, yeah, the Tuies can't take my money anymore, so I'm going to make another paycheck, and blots the guy right out of the stadium.
Yes, just out of the building. Get out the club and never come back.
He had to go.
It's like when Gronk was blocking that dude on the Colts. It was just like, throw him out the club.
Yeah, that's how I like my offensive linemen. Though, just mean and nasty. You know, obviously big and athletic and having long arms. But you know,
Just
just
the guy for the Giants with the short arms. What's his name?
Ben Bredesen.
Brenderson. Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
Bum. You can't play O-line. You have short arms. Guys get all up in your chest, and you can't do anything about it.
Can't have short
T-Rex
arms.
to meet the Robinsons. They got
Yeah.
a big head and little arms.
Yeah, you gotta be able-
Exactly. Exactly.
You gotta
That's
be able-
exactly what happens.
You got to be able to get your hands on people. You can't have them make contact with you first. Then they control the rep. Like you can't do
You
that.
get put on your behind.
Yeah, like they determine what happens at that point. You just have to hope that they don't, just toss you
Knock
aside.
you over.
Yeah, it's
Like
ridiculous.
Reggie White or Aaron Donald or somebody. Just
Reggie
with
White.
one hand just toss
Yeah.
the tackle out of the way.
Like that time he did to Chris Carter, who was trying to chip him. And
That sounds like a bad idea.
it didn't work.
Really?
Yeah, Chris Carter probably wishes he. I'm not gonna say that. That's mean.
You had a fall guy?
Huh?
What you gonna say?
No, I was gonna make a joke about his drug addiction, but I'm not gonna do that.
Oh. Okay. Well, were they teammates at that time in Philly?
No, this is a Viking Packer situation.
Oh.
So
Okay.
yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, the Ravens rolled, and it was glorious to see. I guess it depends on your point of view.
Yes, it definitely depends on your point of view. It was not glorious for me to see.
It was like 28-0 in the first quarter or so.
I tell you, I had a good time.
Oh.
Now, as a neutral fan who didn't really care, I enjoy watching Lamar cook. I'm a Lamar truther, so
Yeah.
when he cooks,
I enjoy watching Lamar cook too, just not
not-
against my team.
yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome
so-
to the party, pal.
Yeah, Lamar cooks a lot of teams, just not the Steelers for some reason, because guys can't catch the ball. Yeah, it was nice to see the Ravens roll like that. I'm usually really stressed out watching the Ravens games, but by halftime I was just relaxed watching TV. And I made the mistake of feeling like that against the Dolphins last year. Oops. But this one was sealed up pretty nicely. The Ravens defense was dominating as well. Roquan Smith was just devouring people. The defensive line was stepping up. The defensive backs were covering people. Like, it was just offense, defense, special teams, dominant performance out of all three phases of the game.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at Jahmyr Gibbs' fantasy stat line, and he had a pretty good game from that standpoint. Bolstered by the late touchdown run, but he wasn't really that great from an efficiency standpoint. It wouldn't have made a difference, I don't think, but we definitely missed that just the strength up the middle of David Montgomery in that game. Just, I think it would have helped a little bit if we could have established the run better, but
Would have had a running back with a longer name. That's it.
Yeah, you lost 38-6, man. There's not a whole lot
Yeah.
to take away other than you got
there's not.
waffled.
It's like the Giants complaining when they went 6-10 and
Joe
got eliminated
Judge.
from the playoffs. Like, we should have had a chance to go to the playoffs as a division winner. Like, You won 6 games.
Yeah, they were mad at the Eagles because the
Out of
Eagles
16.
pulled Jalen Hurts out of the game against the Durs.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
To let Washington go get waxed by Tom Brady.
yeah.
All right, so we talked about the Ravens and the Lions. Unless, Corey, you have anything to add.
I don't.
The Saints, Eric, what did the Saints do?
They lost.
Oh,
Thursday night.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. To
really?
The Jaguars.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, no, that was a week ago.
Trevor Lawrence played pretty badly and didn't matter because the Saints were worse. Derek Carr was awful.
Chris Olave was awful.
He's got some other problems.
Yeah,
to
he
figure
does.
out.
He does have some other problems, but
I have
Chris
no idea
Olave
what
was
happened.
was the second worst wide receiver or pass catcher of the week by DYAR.
He had the ridiculous play where Olave cut his route off. Looked like he was supposed to run some type of stop and go or something like that.
He just stopped.
And I think he just stopped. But Carr threw the ball, and Carr just comes out after throwing the incompletion. He's screaming at Olave for cutting off the route. Like, what are you doing, man? Come on. I'm like, okay, Derek, but it's a little easier to tolerate you raging at him if he didn't throw the ball 5 yards out of bounds anyway.
Right.
Right, Olave could have run a perfect route. There's no catching that. He's not Victor Wembanyama with the extendo arm to be able to come and snatch it.
That's Dan Duquette offense right there. They can't catch it if it's over the fence.
Yeah, it was just Carr sucked. They blew it. They had a chance to tie the game. Tight end dropped the ball. It wasn't the easiest catch in the world, but it should have been caught. Why is the 7th best skill guy on the field getting targeted on 3rd and goal? I don't know. It's the Saints, man.
Taysom Hill, where's he in the rankings?
He's probably in the top 4.
Oh,
It's probably Olave. Now he might be number 5.
Mike Thomas. Where's Mike
Olave,
Thomas?
Michael Thomas, Shaheed, Kamara, and then probably Taysom Hill.
Oh dear.
So Taysom Hill's pretty good. Let's be real. Taysom Hill's pretty good. He's a pretty good player.
Should he be the quarterback instead of Derek Carr?
No, Jameis should be the quarterback.
But between Hill and Carr, who should be the quarterback?
I don't know, man. I don't want to see
I think
Hill.
Taysom Hill has more upside.
Taysom Hill can do the running thing, which has potential, but he can't throw.
Oh,
But
okay.
neither can Carr. Carr sucks.
Yeah.
Carr not only can't throw, he doesn't throw. He's like Ben Simmons shooting threes. It's like he just
He would
doesn't do it.
He'd be great at basketball if there was no basket.
Yes, and Derek Carr would be great at football if he didn't have to throw the ball as the position that throws the ball.
So
which
what
is
would he
insane.
be doing?
You tell me. He'd be standing there looking intense.
You're looking like Sid from Toy Story.
Yes, exactly. He'd be blowing up little toys in the yard. That would be his idea of being good at football. Yeah.
Okay. News and notes. Awful week of picks. Already mentioned that. In the 8 games that the 3 of us agreed on last week, we got one of them right.
Which one was that?
We got Seattle -7.5 against Arizona.
Oh, that was a layup. I mean, come on.
We thought
We thought a lot of these were
layups.
layups, and we smoked all of them.
Yeah.
Here are the 7 misses that we had.
Wembanyama came over and blocked them all.
We picked the Lions +3 at Baltimore.
And they lost by 32.
Mm-hmm. We had the Raiders -3 at Chicago, and Chicago won that game outright
By a lot.
by a lot. We had
With
Buffalo.
Tyson Bagent, my boy.
We had Buffalo -8.5 at New England. Patriots won outright.
That just doesn't make
That
We
has
had
no business happening.
Washington, the Durs, -2.5 at New York. The Giants won outright.
That shouldn't have happened either. Right? This is inexplicable. These pick misses aren't our fault, right? The teams we picked decided to suck.
I mean,
inexplicably.
And we did not predict them.
okay, but
a lot of these teams we should not be trusting.
The Durs deciding to suck isn't news. Like, that's what they do.
What
And
are the Giants then?
we will come back to that game shortly.
Giants
I
own
made
them.
sure in the show notes that we will come back to that game shortly.
Okay, nice, because I want to.
Yes, Tampa Bay -2.5 at home against Atlanta. The Falcons won outright.
Okay, well, that game was at
That
least
was a dumb
competitive.
pick.
Yeah, that
I feel
was
like I
that
picked the
game
Falcons.
We had Green Bay -1.5 at Denver. The Broncos won outright.
Yeah, they blew the game. Yeah, I was.
Green Bay, they
And-
should have won.
Finally, on Monday night, we had San Francisco -7 at Minnesota, and the Vikings won outright.
The Vikings suck. I'm
So
considering
out of
eliminating
those
them.
7 that we got wrong, we picked We picked 5 road favorites, all of whom lost their games.
Wonderful.
We picked 6 favorites, all of whom lost their games. It's ridiculous.
I did bet actual money on the Lions.
Oh,
yeah.
no.
Never been happier to be wrong. Yeah.
Emotionally
What?
hedging.
Yeah.
Okay, but like with money though?
I
Yes.
will gladly pay for Ravens win.
He paid for a win. That's what he did. I understand what he did.
So,
100%.
Fine.
Arizona
That-
Cardinals, guess who's getting bet on this week?
Yes.
I mean, I did the same thing in the 2019 NBA championship. I bet on the Raptors because I thought the number was good, but I was like, I'm rooting for Golden State, but the Raptors win, I'm going to make a lot of money on this. And I did.
I bet $1.
Oh, well, nice.
Yeah. So,
You're not hurting too bad today then.
no.
You're going to be able to pay for a fun spot ticket.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah, because I've bet so far this season I bet $11 and
Big spender.
lost all $11.
Wow.
Yeah. So
You hadn't won a single bet.
I won a bet and then turned that winnings into another loss.
Oh.
Yeah. You don't give when the casino owes you money. That's when it's time to go home. I didn't take my own advice and
Few do. That's why the casino wins all the money in the end.
yeah. Let's see, where are we? We were bad at picks. Speaking of being bad at picks, our biggest regret pick.
Lot to choose from.
There's a lot of them. I picked the Chargers for some reason. We know Brandon Staley is the worst coach in the league. He's certainly in the conversation. And we know that Andy Reid is the best coach in the league, or he's certainly in the conversation. Why did I pick the worst coach? What was I thinking? I mean, the Chiefs like to play with their food before they eat it, right? They get cute sometimes with all the little underhanded flips at the goal line and whatnot, but the Chiefs are way better than the Chargers, and I don't think it's particularly close. So, that was dumb out of me.
Yeah, I picked the same game because it was just a bad read on the situation. The Chiefs' offense didn't look all that impressive coming into this week. And instead of acknowledging that the Chargers are a get-right game for an offense that is not quite playing up to its normal standards, I kind of was like, well, the Chargers could maybe hang with them, because the Chiefs aren't going to necessarily score a ton of points. I'm like, wait, they're playing the Chargers. Of course they're going to score a bunch of points. And then you consider the fact that I've been on Justin Herbert's ass for a long time now as being overrated, and yet for some reason I said, hey, he's going to go in there and cover a line against Patrick Mahomes. No, he's not that good. He really isn't that good. Like, for the second week in a row, he threw just silly picks to lose the game. Like, I don't know what this guy's deal is. Everybody pretended like, oh, he's great. No, he is exactly what we thought he would be coming out of Oregon. We're like, oh, yeah, that guy, he's going to be pretty good. That's it. And there's a reason why he wasn't the number one pick. There's a reason he got passed over by Joe Burrow and Tua. We all saw it at the time. Then we fell in love with the guy because he showed up after Tyrod got stabbed. And
During a pandemic, we were desperate to just see something happen.
Yeah, he took over and was good immediately, and we were just like, oh my God, he's so freaking good. He's like, man, come on.
They still lost. They lost to the Chiefs in that game,
And
too.
he threw a gut punch pick in that game. So yeah, even then, he still did it.
Okay. Well, I mean, I could excuse it for, a rookie in his first game.
Yeah,
throwing a bad
but
interception,
I didn't realize it was
he's
going
not
to
a
become
rookie now.
No, he's getting paid all this money.
He got a Lamar-esque contract.
Yeah,
like
he's
$200
a
million.
B+ quarterback with an A+ quarterback's profile. Or like everybody's like, oh my God, he looks the part, right? He's got quarterback face. He's got the flowing hair. He's 6'5". He's got a big arm. All that stuff. I'm like, okay, how does he actually play?
Yeah.
Does he make good
This is how
throws
Jimmy
when it
G
matters?
got this far.
Does he throw the ball over Keenan Allen's head when he's wide open on Sunday Night Football?
open.
Oh yeah, he does do that. So come on.
Yeah.
I picked my Bucks pick against the Falcons. I mean, this is one that all three of us got wrong, but I put it in as my most embarrassing pick because I think it partially stems from my thoughts on the Lions and feel like they were really good and they were able to beat the Bucks, but the Bucks kind of hung in there against them last week, and so I felt like, okay, the Bucks should be should definitely be better than the Falcons, plus they're at home.
I still agree with that.
But We're talking about a team here that couldn't capitalize on 3 fumbles lost by Desmond Ridder.
What?
Yeah, Desmond Ridder lost 3 fumbles in this game,
I guess
and the
Bucks
still
didn't find
couldn't
them.
win. They set themselves up for Younghoe Koo to make a game-winning 50-plus yard field goal as time expired. And not to mention, they couldn't overcome the fact that there was no Bijan Robinson. Bijan Robinson had 1 carry for 3 yards because apparently during pregame warmups, he surprisingly wasn't feeling well. Where was this in the reporting pregame? How did this not come up at all until the third quarter, if not the fourth quarter? And at that point, he hadn't even touched the ball. Why did he even get a carry late in the game?
As someone who had Bijan Robinson on his team, and I lost my game by 0.4 points.
Yikes!
If I on a last minute carry by friggin' Eagles running back DeAndre Swift.
Yeah.
He just that last carry to get them that first down to ice the game put my opponent over the top by 3 or 4 yards. And that's when I put the Virginia guy hanging, looking sad, because I lost my fantasy game on that carry. And I was just looking at it, I was like, if I had known that Bijan Robinson was never going to touch the ball today for reasons unknown for about an hour and a half, nobody said anything. The broadcasters just didn't acknowledge that the best player on both teams isn't playing football today.
They acted like it was completely expected that Tyler Algier is handling all of the carries.
And Cordell Patterson.
Yes.
I'm like, where's my guy? Where is he? I
the
thought
guy they picked 7th overall or something?
Where's the guy who caught a pass against his back without even looking at the ball and scored a touchdown?
I'm just like, Arthur Smith, is he just doing this thing where he's like, I'll show these fools that complain about me not using my good players. I'm just going to take my best player and never play him today for no reason and not tell anybody before the game. How did nobody say, hey, he's dealing with an illness, he might be limited? If I had even just read that, I would have said, okay, I got somebody to put in for him. But no, I didn't get. He had 1 snap in the first half where he didn't touch the ball, and then he had the 1 carry that Corey mentioned. That was it. Why is he even on the field if he's feeling sick? Why even pretend like he's gonna do anything?
Why did he make the trip to Tampa if he's sick?
These are all very good questions that don't make any sense, and this is why part of why I just I'm losing my mind with fantasy football. This is so far out of my control.
Right. The fact that all of this was against Atlanta and the Buccaneers could not take advantage, they are my most embarrassing, my biggest regret.
And don't you hate the Falcons the most too, out of all the NFL teams that you hate?
You're asking me?
Yes.
Yeah, I hate the Falcons. Yeah.
Okay, they're on my list as well.
I will be wearing a nice pyrite colored, fitting for Georgia Tech, Saints shirt to Saturday's game.
Oh.
So somebody might try to fight me.
Oh,
and Eric very well may be wearing some Falcons get up for the AFL draft next year.
Yeah, because Corey has this, fantasy of me winning the Sacco and Corey once again winning the Pro Bowl and being able to adjudicate a punishment.
What is the Pro Bowl?
I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't understand it.
Why can't
all I know is I won't be in it.
Just pick it. Whoever wins the league.
Because Corey decided to get cute with something.
Really? Oh, okay. That's never happened before.
I'm going to disappoint you again by not winning the Sacco, just like last year.
This league has a Hall of Fame, by the way.
Yes.
Our fake football league has a fake football
your
Hall
boy
of
is
Fame.
in it.
Yes.
I was in the inaugural class.
Yes. I'm in it.
Corey's in it too.
We're all in it.
We're just all putting ourselves in it.
We might all miss the playoffs this year because Brandon's team is looking really good.
Oh, I thought Steven's team was looking so good because he got artificially helped by somebody.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, and then what happened?
His team's still really good.
Oh, okay.
What's your team doing?
My team has the same record as his.
What's your team do last year when you traded for a player? Did you make the playoffs?
No.
Oh, well then, that seems like that didn't work out too well then.
Finished in 5th.
He's trying to do a trade with me right now, and I'm.
Steven is? What's he trying to give you?
Yeah.
Or what's he trying to get from me?
This is why I don't make any more trades, because y'all are actively trying to screw the other person over.
I'm not trying to screw him over. I'm just trying to get a fair
I don't
value.
believe that in the slightest. At all. 0.
Why would I try to screw somebody over when that would just make them not want to trade with me anymore?
I think that, but you're like, oh, well, it's not good value because of the picks and the keepers and the...
Yeah, you made a bad trade. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, it's nonsense.
No, this is one of those where, you shouldn't want to trade with him anymore because he crushed you in the trade.
Yeah, except
Except that somehow Evan
That's not
has
really
in
how
his
it
mind that's
happened,
not how
yeah.
he feels, and so
That
he's
isn't
going
how
to
it
continue to
feels.
trade with Steven.
Yeah.
Well, Steven didn't even ask for it, though. Evan just
Well,
gave
now
it to him.
Steven might ask.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll consider it.
You'll just give it to him again.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can do whatever you want, it's your team.
Exactly.
That's your thing.
Y'all can just be wrong. Still, that's fine.
As you won no playoff games last year, and so yeah, there you go. Well, I definitely didn't win the trade.
He does have one of the 4 best teams this year, at least in terms of record.
So
So,
a lot of season left.
yeah, there is.
Okay. Anyway, let's see. We talk about biggest regret. Our proudest pick. Corey and I both said the Eagles.
Yes.
I mean, they played the Dolphins.
Wait, no, I did not put the Eagles for my proudest pick.
That's what it says here. It says
I thought you did.
PHI minus 2.5.
Yeah, you put the Eagles, dude.
Oh, because I had Washington as the honorable mention. I forgot I did that. Yeah.
Ah, okay. So anyway, I was pretty sure the Eagles would dominate. Just the Dolphins are flashy, but they're flashy and fun to watch. But like football's still won and lost in the trenches. And the Eagles' big uglies are bigger and uglier than most other teams.
Last week when we talked about this game and we were picking it, I specifically brought up like the defensive DVOAs of the teams that the Dolphins had played up to that point. And I drew some comparisons between where the Eagles were in that list and the teams that the Dolphins had had some trouble with up to this point. And lo and behold, Dolphins have some trouble with them. This is what the Dolphins have been doing over the past couple of years. They are really, really good against really, really bad teams, and they just fall apart against, moderately good to very good teams. This is the Dolphins' MO at this point.
Oh, I mean that's the MO of a playoff team, I guess, right? Like
Sure, but
you've
it's
got
not
to
the
crush
MO of
the bad teams.
But it's not the MO of a Super Bowl contender.
No, it's not.
Yeah, Corey, you're kind of right about just. I think more specifically, Evan alluded to it. The Dolphins can't beat physical teams, like teams that can beat you at the line of scrimmage, like the Eagles can, like the Bills did, right? Like if you've got a mediocre or worse pass rush, the the Dolphins are going to kill you.
Yeah.
Because Tua's just going to pick you apart. Tyreek Hill's going to run free, all that good stuff. But if you have the ability to really force the issue and close that pocket up, like we saw Jalen Carter do, like we saw Hassan Reddick do,
completely stop the running game.
Yeah, shut down the run game too. Then it's just you don't have an offense at that point, and the Dolphins' defense isn't good enough to really stop anybody either. Like they're still waiting for Jalen Ramsey to come back. Yep. Xavier Howard's been injured, so that tandem of cornerbacks isn't there, and their front seven just hasn't been that good all season. Like they're a team that they win track meets, that's what they do. But as soon as they have a team that can punch them in the mouth up front, they're going to get stopped. And if they get stopped and the other team's got a competent offense, they're going to get scored on too, which means they're going to lose by multiple scores.
Yep.
Eric, your proudest pick was the Jags over the Saints. You guess.
I mean, how much pride can I have in my week? I won like 2 games. I had to pick something, so I
You
picked
didn't have
that.
to.
I picked against my team, which I feel took a little bit of courage. Not for you, because you just emotionally hedge, but I actually believe in my team sometimes until I don't, and I said I don't believe in you guys this week, and I was right. They lost at home to the Jags with Trevor Lawrence playing poorly and through an injury. So
I do want to mention my honorable mention pick for my proudest
I don't
pick.
know what that is. How was that?
What is going on here?
Yeah.
So what's going on there is, if you remember last week when we were picking Washington versus the Giants, the Durs favored by 2.5. I specifically said, I am picking the Manders because I want them to lose, and I know that if I pick them, they will lose. So this went exactly as I expected it would. I picked them, and they lost. Wow. So this was a spiteful pick.
So
I
this
was
is
willing to
some
take one
galaxy
for
brain
them to
nonsense.
lose.
So you're willing to eat an L,
Yes.
so that a team you're scorned
Because I knew if I picked the Giants, the Durs were going to win.
Okay. Well, you got one.
Yeah.
So
I got one.
Congratulations.
I got it right.
Ron
by
Rivera.
I got it right by getting it wrong.
Ron Rivera is one loss closer to getting fired.
Maybe.
Thanks to you, Corey.
Closer.
Maybe.
How many more does he need?
Eventually, he's gonna get fired, and I
that is
figured
an
that
unknown answer.
He's
That is an
crossed the
unknowable
threshold
answer.
by like 10 losses.
I mean, who's okay? Who is the number one candidate for a midseason firing?
Ron Rivera.
Ron Rivera.
Yeah, it's got to be Ron Rivera, right? Like,
He was that last year, too.
well, he didn't get fired midseason. He didn't get fired at all.
I think next up is Brandon Staley.
Staley's got to be on the short list. Not just because I hate him, but because he's awful.
He's terrible.
Because of his beard.
Well, that doesn't help. It just makes it worse.
But like he
Looks like a garden gnome.
what does Mike McCarthy look like with his white beard?
Also a garden.
A fatter
like
garden
a
gnome.
Fatter garden gnome, yes.
Imagine if McCarthy was coaching the Chiefs or another red team. He would look exactly like Santa Claus. Just big and round and red. Like Santa. Most surprising pick, or most surprising outcome, rather, I would go with Da Bears. Justin Fields, at least I thought anyway, was their best player, and he wasn't going to play. So I'm like, well, I'm definitely picking against them because the Bears don't have a team. And sure enough, the Bears just won, right? This is more surprising than the Cal Bears against Stanford when the band was on the field.
band came on the
The
field.
Bears have won! Like, what? What are you talking about? The Bears won.
The band's on the field, man. That's the
Yeah,
most
the
important
game
part of
is
the play.
over. The band is on the field. Like, Fields isn't playing. Just pack it up. Some guy I had never heard of in my life. Some Tyson Bagent.
Travis Bajan's son. I told you. Told you. Professional arm wrestling champion.
I thought I said
Kegs
that
and
last week.
eggs.
Kegs and
Yeah,
eggs.
kegs and eggs.
Okay, like chocolate milk and squats, but for arm wrestling.
Well, no, Kegs and Eggs was an event for St. Patrick's Day that DC 101 and Elliot in the Morning would put on, and Travis Bajan appeared at it and was sort of a gimmick where you could arm wrestle with him, and if you did well enough, you got some free stuff.
So let me pose a question to you guys from this week.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron Schatz ranked 25 quarterbacks by DYAR this week.
Uh-huh.
Tyson Bagent
Yeah.
threw 29 passes. Not a single one exceeded 15 air yards. He completed 21 passes for 162 yards.
Yeah.
1 touchdown, no picks. Where do you think he ranked out of those 25 quarterbacks this week?
Like 17-ish or so.
10th?
10th. Eric was actually pretty close. 9th.
Oh.
He was a top 10
had a pretty good
quarterback
week.
this week, despite having well under 10 yards per completion this week.
So,
Boy didn't complete any passes to the other team.
he was being efficient.
He didn't. That's
He was
correct.
being efficient. Just a little check down
Also,
guy.
Dante Foreman had a great week.
Yeah.
On my bench.
Check it down. Just check it down, man. Travis Bajan, man, like Tyson Bajan, Travis Bajan's the man. He's like out there, at the combine arm wrestling fools, like just for fun. It was fun. He's a fun guy, and his son, he's got that WVW thing going on. He's West Virginia white, so he's got a lot of hillbilly in him. I love it. I'm excited for him.
Never heard of that.
First undrafted free agent from a D2 college to start an NFL game in like 6 or 7 decades. Something
So
like that.
so tired is Brock Purdy and wired is Tyson Bajan, right? Like we're off of Brock Purdy now. Tyson Bajan is the new Brock Purdy, the guy we pretend is good because he's fun.
As long as we're honest about the fact that we are pretending that
We
he's
were
good.
not honest about Brock Purdy.
No, we were not.
So, I'm not going to be honest about Tyson Bajan.
I'm going to be honest about both.
He's my new favorite player. I'm just saying. I'm going to buy his
My new
jersey.
favorite player is Tyrod Taylor.
Oh, Super Bowl champion
Why?
Tyrod Taylor.
Because he beat the Durs, much to your joy.
That, and also because he's
you're
definitely better than Daniel Penny's.
Well, yeah. We know that, but if Danny Dimes had played, they would have won anyway because Dimes owns the Durs. We know that. He
That's
always beats them.
He does.
So, yeah.
There you go.
Corey, your most surprising outcome was picking the Ravens.
Yeah, that just like I
Or
figured
picking against the Ravens,
I
rather.
figured that there could be a chance that the Ravens would win that game, but not by more than 30 points. Like what was that by the Lions? That was just an absolutely pitiful performance.
Some days you just get waffled.
Yeah, and
Right.
I will say this much. obviously getting our teeth kicked in that way, it's hard to spin that as a good thing. But if the team was sort of feeling themselves a little bit more than they had the right to, this could, in a sense, be exactly what they need. That kick in the ass to be like, okay, you guys, you have a lot of talent. You can beat some teams, but y'all aren't there yet. Like, you are not it yet. Y'all still got to make sure you keep your heads down and keep working. And, sometimes an ass whooping is exactly what you need to remind you of that and to, focus again if this was a matter of a lack of focus.
I mean, all season, the new hot team of the week gets humbled, right?
Yeah.
Like the 49ers, after they housed the Cowboys in primetime, everybody's like, ooh, the 49ers, nobody's beating them. They're going 20-0. We're going to win the whole damn thing.
Have they won any games since then?
No, they lost to P.J. Walker, and they lost to Kirk Cousins in primetime.
Yep.
So,
wow.
Pretty tough.
That's a tough look right there.
Yeah. So, like the Lions will get back to it, but the Ravens are a good, talented team. We expected to see games like this from them.
Sure.
Which
we
is
didn't
why
expect it to be this week against this opponent.
But should have done that to Indy and Pittsburgh.
To Pittsburgh
right,
too.
Yes.
But the Ravens have disappointed a lot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But we knew they were capable of stuff like this.
Yeah.
They just don't do it.
And it's the same for the Lions. Like, there's gonna be games where they're gonna disappoint, but they also have the ability to score a lot of points. So I'm not too worried about it, but I'm hopeful that this will, in the long run, be a positive.
Also, Harbaugh making you look like a fool with the whole scheduled loss thing, not taking the bye.
Yeah.
Just insisting
How about that?
Came out and just played the best game of the year.
I mean,
something else, man.
Surprising.
Yeah,
that was
another part of why this was like the most shocking for me.
It was definitely a surprise that the Ravens brought it this game of all games for them to bring
against
it.
This opponent, flying back from London.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I will say though, for the Lions, this is the best kind of horrible loss to have. Not only will they face the adversity and get the opportunity to bounce back from it, but like an out-of-conference road loss, like you can just throw that away, right? It doesn't really, it only counts against you in the standings because you lost the game, but a team that you're competing against in the standings didn't win this game.
Right.
And it won't have any implications for tiebreakers, realistically at least, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, the only tiebreaker it might have is
like strength of victory or strength of schedule,
Yeah.
but that's way down the list.
Yes.
or who gets to wear color uniforms in the Super Bowl, right?
More points. The fact that we only scored 6 points doesn't help.
Oh, well, I mean, this is
I
not
think-
the BCS anymore.
Hopefully, it's not coming down.
I think the
tiebreakers
Lions are going to be
anyway.
just fine in that
Yes.
division.
yeah. They
Come
got
on.
2 more games against the Vikings. They're gonna smash that. But I also
They
said
get to
that
play the
about
Packers
49ers.
at home. Like
They
they
play the
already
Packers.
beat the Packers in Lambeau.
Yep.
Yeah.
They get to play the Bears. Like, come on.
Who do they have on Thanksgiving? They're gonna smash them too, right?
I don't even remember.
Might be the
who our
Bears again.
Thanksgiving
They seem like they always play the
game is.
Bears.
It might be.
Tyson Bagent, though. Just saying.
Eric, your most surprising outcome was the Bills.
How is
losing
this
to the
anything
Patriots.
but the most surprising period? The Bills have owned the Patriots since Josh Allen.
Yes.
Since Tom Brady left town. I mean, this was not supposed to happen this way.
No.
Mac Jones looked like he was the worst quarterback in football for about
History.
3 straight weeks. Like I sent you the video of that
Yeah.
awful pass that
He
threw.
didn't even throw his interception to the right person. Right? That's how bad the pass was.
He threw it to the
He
other
threw it
defender.
somewhere else.
It was completely opposite of where the target was. It was insane. And he's turned the ball over and had a lot of fumble sixes and pick sixes. And then somehow the Bills' offense gets stuck in neutral, which they do sometimes. And we know the Patriots' defense has talent on it. They just got J.C. Jackson back, and apparently he's like the Lance Stevenson of football, where he can only play well in one uniform, or Nick Foles if you prefer
Lance
that.
Stevenson, like Nick Foles.
Yeah.
Don't even go to another sport.
Yeah, just go to say we'll stay within
Ask the
football.
Patriots how that worked out.
Yeah, ask Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
So he tapped into some of that magic with J.C. Jackson, who looked good after the Chargers paid him all this money, and he was a bum. He comes back to the New England, and he looks good again. But yeah, it was unbelievable. Not only that, the Bills play with their food sometimes. Josh Allen goes YOLO Josh and makes a lot of mistakes. But once they got the lead, right, like they scored a go-ahead touchdown late, how do you let Michael McCorkle drive right down the field and score a game-winning touchdown?
So Mike Gesicki, who's also a bum.
And who did, again, his rendition of his awful gritty.
God.
He's
That
better
was
at
the
the
worst
gritty
part.
than he is at football.
He's awful at the gritty. So enough said.
The Bills are the anti-Dolphins, where the Dolphins will crush all the bad teams, but they struggle against good teams. The Bills seem to be the opposite, where they bring their A game, like they crush the Dolphins, or at least beat them handily. Like they beat good teams,
them.
but then they play down to their opponent's level when they play a team like the Patriots, who suck, who should be getting Bill Belichick fired. And this game just saved him for at least a little while longer.
Well, it also derailed their tank for Caleb Williams.
It did.
Although maybe at this point, is Caleb Williams going to hold on to being the top pick? He's looked like booty the last couple of weeks for USC. Could be Drake May. Remember Drake? He's
We're gonna see him on Saturday.
yeah, Drake May, the Great White Hope. So you got to consider that. Just saying, you got to consider that as a factor.
I mean, when I
Who
was
does
doing
he even play for?
North Carolina,
Okay. Yeah.
but like
He's good. He actually is good.
he is
He's
pretty
not
good.
Sam Howell. He's not who's the other bum?
Mitch Trubisky.
Mitch Trubisky or who? The Corral was Matt Corral.
He was pretty good in
Matt
college.
Golden Corral.
Yeah.
Trubisky and Howell were not good.
Yeah,
in
they
college.
weren't good college quarterbacks, so let's use a top pick on them. Or
Matt Barkley and Sam Darnold and
or Mark Sanchez was good in college. Though.
yeah, what Matt Castle, right?
Yeah, but he was like a 6th-round pick and a backup for most of his career.
Yeah.
It was Hackenberg from Penn State was one
Oh
of
my God.
Oh boy.
and Trace McSorley, your boy.
Yeah.
Who was about to lose the game until Lamar finished taking his boo-boo and he came out and won the game on Monday Night
Was
Football.
about to lose the game. No, Trace McSorley was injured too.
Yeah, he just got hurt. It's like, who's going to play quarterback? That's Lamar Jackson's music. He's coming out of the
Is that
bathroom.
Lamar Jackson's music on 4th down at the 2-minute warning on Monday Night Football. Like,
And he hit your boy Hollywood Brown. You
yeah,
know, something else.
he caught it.
He did catch it.
Steve Levy was shocked.
Yes, I was shocked too.
So was I.
Couldn't believe it.
All right. Do we have any bad beats? I
We
don't
didn't have
think
any
so.
bad week beats this week that I'm aware of. Other than just the fact that we all got beat bad in our picks.
We just sucked. Yeah.
Yeah. Alrighty. So we will.
I went 4-9. Evan went 4-9. Eric went 3-10.
Yikes.
Jeez.
That is atrocious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Best and worst of week 7. The three of us are not listed as the worst in any of these. Best quarterback, Patrick Mahomes, plus 268 DYAR.
Pretty good.
Contrasted with Sam Howell, minus 123.
And guess who started Sam Howell at quarterback in fantasy this week? This guy. And you?
I started
your
him in my other league.
Oh,
I needed
no.
somebody. He was the best.
Yeah,
he
I
was
needed
the
somebody
best
too.
available.
He's playing against the Giants. I'm like, he should do well.
Because Dak was on bye, so I had to pick somebody up, and I was like, it's the Giants, you know.
The week he gets a great matchup and I start him, he does terrible. The week that he gets a great matchup and is started against me by Alex Kincaid, he scores. He had like 0.17 points at halftime against the Bears, and he finished with almost 30 points.
Yeah, garbage
Wow.
time.
I was like, okay, can I get some of that in the second half? But no, we couldn't even get that.
Well, because it didn't get to garbage time. The Giants didn't score enough points.
Right.
Wow.
Pathetic.
I have
Absolutely
Lamar
pathetic.
Jackson in my other league, so
That probably worked out pretty well
should
for
have
you.
picked him.
Yeah. This is the guy that this great coach is supposed to be super excited about having as a starting quarterback.
Who are we talking about? Sam Howell?
Yeah.
He,
He
sucks.
sucks.
I know.
He wasn't good in college. We just said this.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the point.
A 5th-round pick who sucked in college?
And yet Ron Rivera thought that he was going to be the guy.
And he gassed him up to the point where he said,
We should have been
We
starting
got
him
rid of
earlier last
Heineke
year.
Team
Like,
7.
what?
yeah, I wish I had known how good he was last year, even though I'm the head coach and he was on my football team.
And he's also not good.
He's
That's
also
the key part.
He's also booty.
Yeah. You don't know how good he is now. You're not aware of this.
You are not aware
Well,
of how bad he
Well,
is.
we know how good he is, and he ain't.
Yeah.
So
Does Ron Rivera even watch football? Right?
He
Is he
he
one
is
of those
negative.
Dallas
He
fans
is
I mentioned
negative
earlier?
Good.
Yeah. Very negative good, according to DYAR.
absolute value is pretty good.
Exactly.
Still not as good as Patrick Mahomes' absolute value.
Well, no.
No.
But
That's why I said negative good.
I
Not
understand.
negative very good.
I got it.
Anyway, running backs total, the best was James Cook at plus 66, and the worst was Kenneth Walker at minus 31.
So the Bills had the best running back of the week, and they still couldn't beat the Patriots.
Yep.
What are we
Yikes.
doing here?
I don't know.
And
Kenneth Walker usually is a lot better than that. He'll bounce back.
yeah. Rushing only Deontay Foreman plus 33 and AJ Dillon minus 20. Okay.
Dylan didn't have a terrible game stat-wise, but efficiency-wise, he was awful. I think he had a fumble in that game. And,
Yeah, that'll do it.
I feel pretty
Long
good
break.
about that from the standpoint of, Aaron Jones played in that game. He's still, kind of coming off of that hamstring injury, but hopefully now, with Dylan still being booty, he will get more run. He's a part of the package that was being discussed.
Aaron Jones was?
Yes.
Is Steven just saying, I have so many good players, but I want even more good players, so just give me all the good players?
I'll share more with you off the air.
No. What air? Nobody's listening.
We actually have 4 live listeners right now.
Wow.
Tens and tens of
Do we have any YouTube comments? Don't want to forget about that.
Just one from earlier from Alex Mayo. He was back when we were talking about the World Series. He says he hopes both teams win, which unfortunately, Alex, is not possible.
I'm assuming that my dad was texting me. He texted from my mom's phone to let me know that the Wizards gave up 72 points at the half against the Pacers. So,
They're getting paced by the
We're
Pacers.
back, baby. We're back.
We are back.
I taped the game, and now I don't want to.
Everybody beats
Picking
the
up
Wiz.
right where we left off.
Yeah.
I'm sure Jordan Poole was out there trying his hardest.
Yeah. Throwing bricks in the pool party. Pass catchers, Travis Kelce was the best one, obviously. And the worst was Jamison Williams. Is he a bust, right? Like, we thought he was going to be so great and stuff, and he was kept and whatnot with the taxi squad and all that shenanigans.
This is a taxi squad.
Yeah, but then, it's time to play, dude. And where are you?
I mean, even last week when he had the long touchdown catch from Goff against the Bucks, he looked completely confused out there. It took a beyond perfect pass by Goff to just lay it right in his breadbasket, and he still almost messed it up. This dude ain't him.
No. Alright, speaking of ain't him, let's eliminate a team from the playoffs. So each week we each eliminate one team from the playoffs. The pick order is determined by who did the best and worst in the picks against the spread the previous week. And the catch is we can't eliminate a team that another person picked that week. So Corey, you've given yourself first place, which is fine.
I fill out the form. I put
it's on you, man.
Yeah.
I don't fill out the form either, so we get what we get.
Yeah, and I mean, talk about the Giants when they went 6-10 and won to win the division. I'm not going to sit here and argue I should have finished in first place. I went 4-9.
Jeez.
Yeah, no. So Corey, you've eliminated the Cardinals, Titans, Bears, Giants, Broncos, Panthers, and the Raiders. And in addition, you are eliminating.
This is a tough one just because I really wanted to hold on to this team a little bit longer, especially because you guys have both eliminated them already. So having the first pick, I wanted to go somewhere else. But there's a lot of teams that are still kind of, I want to give them a little bit more time for me to evaluate them and decide what I want to do with them. So I'm just going to do it. I'm going to say bye-bye to the 2-5 New England Patriots. I know they're coming off the win against the Bills, but this is the Bills messing that up. They lost the game. The Patriots did not win the game. So, yeah, I'm getting rid of the Pats.
The Patriots have gotten eliminated each of the last 3 weeks by one of us.
No. 2 weeks ago, you eliminated them, Evan, and 3 weeks ago, Eric eliminated them.
Okay. So well I can read. I'm picking next. I've eliminated the Colts, Cardinals, Panthers, Bears, Raiders, Patriots, and the Giants. And I was scrolling down the NFL standings at the bottom here, and then I've eliminated all of the really awful teams.
Yeah, this is where it starts to get a little bit
This is where it starts getting difficult. So I had to scroll up. And I'm gonna go ahead and I don't know anymore. Give me the Titans. They're at the bottom here. With little confidence, but they still got the Jags twice, and the Jags are gonna pound them. So I'll take Tennessee.
Yeah. I eliminated them back in week 2, so
yeah,
I like that pick. Eric,
I was considering Minnesota actually, but I'll hold on to them, I guess.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold off on the Vikings just because they're
You
coming off.
eliminated
You already
Vikings
you
last
picked
week.
them
Oh,
last
did I
week.
really? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well, never
you've
mind.
eliminated the Rams, Panthers, Texans, Broncos, Patriots, Giants, and the Vikings.
I've still haven't eliminated the Texans yet.
No, you have not.
Oh,
I'd be
how are
careful
they
with that.
doing?
They're better than you think. They're 3-3.
You're making Eric a little nervous. Potentially.
I'm more nervous about the Rams just
Yeah.
because nobody else in the NFC is going to make the playoffs. Like, who's left, right? Like, you've got the Eagles and Cowboys are going to make it out of the East. You've got the Lions. You've got whoever wins the South, and that's going to be it. And you got the 49ers and Seahawks. There's one team left.
Currently, it's
Who's
Tampa
gonna-
Bay
Yeah, exactly.
because they've played one less game.
Yeah. I know. This is my point, right? The Rams have just as good a shot as as the Saints or the Bucks or the
Yep.
Vikings,
Yep.
who I already eliminated. And the Durs are 3-4. Yeah, it might be time to just say, you know what? Been holding on to them for a little while. Let's do. Yeah, let's go ahead and just do the Cardinals.
Okay.
Oh. Okay.
So at this point, we have all eliminated the Cardinals. We've all eliminated the Giants. And we've all eliminated the Patriots.
Those teams are
They're
worthy
toast.
of such an elimination. But considering how we did on the picks, all three of us agreed on this past week. They're
All three teams are playoff bound.
they're all Super Bowl contenders now.
So Evan and I have both eliminated 4 from each conference. With the Cardinals pick, Eric, you've eliminated 5 from the NFC and 3 from the AFC. So just something to keep an eye on as we
Better
continue
get to
on through the
work in the
season.
AFC then.
Real quick, before we get to this week's
Oh,
picks, I want to
Suns.
congratulate Sean Kennedy. He won our Week 7 fan contest outright.
You got 5.
The fans had a similarly difficult week this past go around, but Sean stood above the rest and joined one other fan in outscoring all 3 of us. In fact, Sean had 6 correct
6. Wow.
and somebody else had 5, but only the winner gets the shout out.
Oh, okay.
That's my rule. So, but Andrew Perez does continue to lead our fan contest for the season. He's just 1 point ahead of second place, and also 1 point ahead of Evan, who is in third place among the 3 of us on the season.
Ooh. Okay.
Bronze medal.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like
AKA
guy with the
participation trophy.
Yeah, I'm the guy with the champagne in that meme, right? The double bird and everything, even though I'm at the bottom of the podium.
Yeah.
Alrighty, let's get to these games here. Thursday Night Football, Buccaneers at Bills, where the Bills are favored by 8.5 points. This is awful.
By the way, there are 16 games this week.
Oh yeah, there's no buys.
There were 13 games last week because 6 teams were on bye.
Mm-hmm.
There will be 13 games next week because 6 teams will be on bye.
Mm-hmm.
What are we doing, NFL?
Yeah. Aren't there teams on bye Thanksgiving week as well?
Pretty sure there are. There usually are at least like 2 teams on bye that week. By the way, the Lions Thanksgiving game is against the Packers this year.
Oh, they're gonna roll. Okay.
Yeah.
So, anyway, back to tomorrow night. Buccaneers at Bills.
Oh boy. Give me the Bucks. I got the Bucks because I would like to think their defense is good, maybe. And the Bills can be shaky sometimes. And apparently road teams on Thursday night isn't a thing anymore because they all keep, not covering or whatever.
Yeah, road team on Thursday night is not a thing. But I'm actually taking the Bills this week because the Bucks are not a very good team, and I think we saw last week that they might be even worse than I thought that they were. And as we just talked about a little bit ago, the Bills.
Something.
I'm sorry. I just talked myself out of it. Give me the Bucks. The Bills are the anti-Dolphins. Give me
What
the Bucks.
just
Like
happened?
Like we talked about a little bit ago. Silence.
Wait, what?
This is a Jameis Winston meme all over again, where it's just like, what is you? It's like, the podcast has gone off the rails.
We need video for the show.
So
bad.
yeah, Corey just out here pulling a Jameis Winston, where he's like,
Pulled a Danny Woodcock out of the backfield.
yeah, just out here, just like, Just like Jameis Winston, like when he's talking, he's like, we just got to be prepared. It's like Coach always said. What did he say? He just said be prepared. He said no idea what was going on. What did
Like
he
we
say?
just said.
Oh, wait, never mind. That defies what I just said. Let me run it back. Oh, jeez. All right, well, I guess I got to pick
You have
this.
the Bucks too, so the Bills roll in this game.
No, I'm actually going with the Bills. Only because
Nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills.
nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. The Bills are going to win the Super Bowl. All the things we said last year that ended up not being true at all.
It will not be true this year.
No, like the thing is, the Bills they're a Jekyll and Hyde team, right? Like
they are.
Like we've seen them blow out bad teams. They blew out the Raiders.
Sure.
They blew out the Durs. We know that they can do it. It's just a matter of will they? I have no idea. Like they could easily, screw around this game and make it interesting, or they couldn't.
Could lose this game.
To me, it's a coin flip as far as I'm concerned. Either they're going to blow the Bucks out, or they're going to find a way to lose.
But that's exactly it. The way I view this, like this should honestly be like a pick'em game. It's a coin flip. So I'm going with the points.
Nah,
I'm getting 8.5.
I'm gonna ride with the Bills and say, hey, y'all are gonna figure it out and actually run a team off the field after 2 disappointing weeks in a row. Actually, 3 disappointing weeks because the Giants game was, and then the previous week was the Jags game.
This is the Bills. This is the Bills now.
I understand that, but they've still.
This is why I switched after initially thinking I was about to pick him to.
I didn't think you were
back
thinking
on the wagon.
anything. I
Half
think you
their
just
games they've
came
blown
up with nothing.
Half their games they've blown the opponent out, and the other half the games they have been mediocre. So, when I see it's a 50-50 shot. And I kind of want a lone wolf pick, so I'm gonna do it.
Eric going hindsight is 50-50.
Yeah.
On to Sunday, Texans -3 at the Panthers. I am all over the Texans. I don't
me
have-
too.
Yeah,
Are the Panthers gonna win a game? I'm just trying to win a game.
maybe not. They'll win a division game. I think
They'll stumble into a win against the Saints or
they'll
somebody
beat
like
the
that.
Falcons probably.
They already lost to the Falcons.
Will they play them again?
Yeah, they're gonna lose them again.
I mean,
Unless Bijan Robinson just gets sick out of left field somehow and nobody knows what's going on for 2 hours.
Who
We're
gets
not
sick
talking
out of
about the
right
Falcons
field
right
that
now.
week?
I'm lone wolfing on the Panthers this week. I don't like the fact that this implies a -9 line if Houston was at home.
I do.
I don't think that this is that big of a gap between these two teams. And the Panthers are coming off a bye. Bryce Young has been looking a little bit better the last game or two that he's played. Jonathan Mingo is becoming more involved in the offense, and he's looked pretty good. I really don't view this line as fair to the Panthers. I think it's a little bit too generous in favor of the Texans.
I think the Panthers are the worst team in the league by a lot. So
Yeah,
That's it.
Texans roll. Rams at Cowboys. Cowboys favored by 6.5 points, and I don't know. So I'm going to ask one of you.
I'm going Rams.
Eric?
6.5 is too much. I don't think Dallas is that great. I think the Rams are pretty close to the Cowboys right now. I think the Rams defense is probably comparable to the Cowboys defense as it stands currently because the Cowboys defense is underwhelmed over the last few weeks now. They've been consistently underwhelming now, which would lead me to believe that that's going to continue to be the case. And the Rams' offense is definitively better than the Cowboys. Obviously, it sucks that they don't have Kyron Williams, so their run game is almost non-existent. But when you have Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua both playing really well, and you've got solid role
believe I
players
had that,
supporting
by the way.
them between Tutu Atwell and Tyler Higbee, I like the Rams, particularly when I'm getting almost a touchdown.
yeah, there's no way I'm going to take the Cowboys and lay that many points. That they haven't earned that level of respect, and the Rams have been respectable this year. So no, yeah, it's the Rams are. I feel like the Rams are almost perfect against the spread this year too. Right, like week 1 against the Seahawks, they were underdogs and they blew them out. They kicked the field goal inexplicably against the 49ers to cover the spread in week 2. They covered last week. They covered against the Cardinals, even though they were like a 7-point favorite, and the Cardinals have been frisky.
The Rams are 4-2-1 ATS this season.
Okay, well, so they've been better than the average, and the Cowboys are probably under 500 against the spread.
Oh no. I picked the Panthers, and the Panthers are 0-5-1 against the spread.
That's what I'm saying, though.
The Panthers get curb stomped every
Yeah.
week.
They only pushed against Derek Carr.
I thought they pushed against Minnesota.
No, they blew that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
pushed
the
against
Saints.
Derek Carr. They backdoor pushed. Pushed.
Backdoor push.
Figured it out. So on like a weird game. All right. So yeah, Rams for me.
Y'all convinced me Rams. So congrats to Dallas on winning by 75.
It could happen.
Minnesota Vikings -1.5 at the Packers. I'm not willing to accuse the Vikings of being a good team yet. So give me Green Bay, and points with my chest on this one. But
And 1.5.
yeah,
With your chest on Jordan Love.
yeah, my chest that's been caved in by picking
Jordan
so
Love.
terribly, and by him. Yeah,
No, I agree the Vikings are not a good team, but the Packers are objectively a bad team. And
They're losing to everybody.
Minnesota
lose
beat the
to
spread and won the game against the 49ers this past week. And I get that the 49ers are a little underwhelming, but they still had, some good players in that game. The only guy they were really missing was Deebo Samuel. And the Vikings they completely shut them down. So
I need to talk about this moment in that
I'm taking
game.
the
By the way,
Vikings.
the Vikings game. I wrote it down because it really made me mad. So the Vikings picked up a third down right at the end, with just over 2 minutes to go. But there was a penalty on the play. The 49ers held, and the pass was completed anyway for the first down. The ball carrier was tackled inbounds. The clock never restarted. It just stayed dead at 2:19, so it didn't roll to the 2-minute warning. So that's why the friggin' 49ers got the ball back with so much time with a chance to win the game until Purdy threw the pick. They wouldn't have had any time. They would have had maybe 20 seconds to go do that, but instead they got a full minute. I'm like, why didn't the clock wind?
yeah, I don't know what that was about.
They didn't even accept the penalty.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Jordan Addison had a huge game. He's getting
did.
more involved. He is so hard to tackle. He's a great deep threat.
I didn't think Jordan Addison would be as good as he looked at the NFL level. I thought he was a little overrated, but he was a Biletnikoff Award winner. He was sort of hand recruited by Lincoln Riley, who knows how to coach offense at least.
Are we
And
sure
look,
about
there's
that?
definitely some flaws in Jordan Addison's game, but you can't take away the
He's a
fact
little
that
guy.
he's a great deep threat, and he's a great catch and traffic kind of guy, but also he'll break some tackles and
He also
burn you
catches
big.
the ball.
Yes, he catches the ball. But yes, I'm taking the Vikings, which means that either Evan or I will be lone wolfing this one. Eric?
Mm-hmm.
Lone Wolf is going to be Evan because I'm taking the Vikings.
Oh, okay. All right, Saints -1.5 at Colts. Oh God, indeed.
Makes me sick to my stomach. What an awful game.
The wrong team is favored here. Give me the Colts to win outright.
I think I like the Saints. He says quietly. Eric?
Well, I'll say it loudly. Pick the Colts.
Oh no.
Derek Carr is awful.
Yeah. Enough said.
Gardner Minshew's better than him.
No. We're probably right.
He just is. It's pathetic, but it's true.
Patriots at Dolphins. Dolphins -9.5. That's not enough. Dolphins roll. The Patriots have a tough time winning in Miami, even when they had Tom Brady. Tom Brady's not walking through that door. Not only is he not playing for the Patriots, he's also not playing for the Dolphins because the Dolphins lost the first-round pick this year because they were tinkering with Tom, as it were. Dolphins by 100.
This is the game I was thinking of earlier when we were talking Bills versus Bucks.
He just told us to be prepared.
The Dolphins crush bad teams. The Patriots are a bad team. The Patriots defense is middling, but I would say is not even quite in the same tier as the Eagles and some of those other teams we were talking about last week. So this is a game I feel pretty comfortable that the Dolphins are going to win handily, especially once again coming off of a bad performance. So yeah, I'm all over the Fins this week.
It feels like the Patriots just kind of had their Super Bowl where they pulled off this ridiculous win over the Bills. Ain't happening again. Dolphins.
Alrighty. New York Jets -3 at, in air quotes, Giants. I mean, the Giants are awful in all phases, and the Jets at least play defense. I can't trust the Giants as far as I can throw them, so give me the Jets.
I am operating under the assumption that Tyrod Taylor will be starting because even though I guess Daniel Jones is practicing in a limited fashion, he hasn't been cleared for contact or anything. And because Tyrod Taylor should be starting, I'm going to pick the Giants.
Yeah, I'm taking the
Yikes.
Giants too. Cause
What?
Tyrod Taylor's way better than Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
Way better than Zach Wilson.
And Danny Pennies, but yes.
But that's
Yes.
he's playing Zach Wilson.
Yes.
The Jets roll this game.
No way. They just don't roll anybody. They suck. Who have
What
they rolled?
do the Giants do then?
The Giants have covered the spread the last 2 weeks with Tyrod Taylor playing. They covered against the Bills.
Yeah, the Giants are 2-5 against the spread, but they are 2-0 against the spread.
Yeah.
When
Tyrod's
Taylor's
a
the starter.
solid player.
I mean,
Super Bowl champion Tyrod Taylor.
that is true.
I will say though, the Jets are 4-2 against the spread this year.
I don't care. I don't care.
You don't care
I don't
because
care either.
it disagrees with
Just
what
gonna
you
point
just
it out.
said.
No, what I just said was obvious. That Tyrod Taylor is a lot better than Zach Wilson.
Yes.
I'm guessing y'all are about to disagree. Well, y'all are going to disagree with me on this one. Jaguars -2.5 at Steelers.
You're picking the Steelers, aren't you?
Yes.
You love the Steelers.
You know,
You pick the Steelers all the time.
I do.
Like
Evan is correct that I'm disagreeing with him.
Yeah, so am I. the Steelers are terrible. They're the worst 4-3 team in the history of football. They suck.
I mean, yeah.
Don't
We'll,
trust them at all.
That's 4 lone wolf picks for Evan so far, and 1 for each of us, Eric.
alrighty. Moving on.
We won't be going 1-7 in games where we all agree this week because we're not gonna have enough that we all agree on this week.
Oh boy.
That was a bad sign when we had 8 games that we agreed on. And we only had
should have
13
known. We
games.
should have
We were
known
like, this
something
is,
was afoot.
this is wrong. Normally we disagree on everything, and now we're all on the same page. It's going to be ugly.
Speaking of ugly, Falcons -2.5 at Titans.
A poop-fecta game.
Yes.
Yes. I guess I'll take Tennessee. Quietly.
I mean, yeah. Quietly take the Titans, too.
Tennessee.
Oh,
Yeah, Titans.
okay.
Yeah, we're all quietly on the
Which,
Titans.
the Falcons are
I
going to
just
win.
this is another one that I feel like the wrong team is favored, particularly with the Titans being at home. I think that these two teams are pretty similarly underwhelming, and yeah, with the Titans being at home and getting points, that's a pretty easy pick for me. I'm a little nervous about how easy it is and the fact that we're all in agreement, but but this was a no-brainer for me. I didn't have to think about it at all.
Yes. Don't take our picks as financial advice, please. I think we can take this one to the bank, though. Eagles -6.5 at Commanders. Eagles by, I don't know, maybe 400 points.
The Durs covered last time against Philly.
Eagles by
did.
500 points.
They
Game
did.
went- game
and
went to
this one is
overtime.
in Washington.
So,
That doesn't help. That doesn't matter.
It doesn't help, but it also doesn't hurt because it
hurts.
It's going to be exactly as much of a home game for the Eagles as it
The
was.
Eagles and the Durs played each other in Philly, and the game was respectable back in 2010. Then they played in Monday Night Football in Raleigh, and we know what happened.
I think they just scored again. You see
Yes,
that?
35-0 at the end of the first quarter. So, anyway, yeah, I'm taking the Eagles. I think the Eagles have a little bit of their swagger back. Their defense is firing again. The Durs are down in the dumps after a pathetic loss to the Giants. Ron Rivera's itching to get fired, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's got to happen eventually, right?
Last week I took one for the team despite the Durs. I picked them because I knew that if I picked them, it was not going to go their way. I'm not going to do that this week because I don't want to give up wins.
We
You know,
already
throughout the
gave
whole
up
season.
one, according
I
to
gave
you.
up,
Have you
I
seen
gave
my
up one.
picks yet?
I gave up one. I'm going with the Eagles.
I think the Eagles are going to take care of you anyway.
I hope so.
Yeah. 4 o'clock window. Browns at Seahawks. So the Seahawks are favored by 3.5 points.
Probably no Deshaun Watson again. Does that matter? Because he's been bad,
He's been
and
so
and
bad.
PJ Walker's actually played okay.
Yes, yeah. Like PJ Walker was kind of bad in the first game that he played, but like once he kind of shook the rust off or whatever was going on in that game, he's played well.
He's been all right.
Yeah, I'm on the Browns this week. The Browns just have such a good defense. I think it's going to be really hard for the Seahawks to get things rolling. And the Seahawks defense is not good enough to shut down even an underwhelming Browns offense, especially with Jerome Ford back in action playing well. Bring some balance to that team. Yeah, I'm on the Browns this week.
Oh, I was shakily on the Browns, but Corey, you convinced me. I was sort of hung up on the hook, so to speak, that 3.5. But yeah, give me Cleveland.
I'm surprised.
Famous
I almost
last
never
words
convince
of
Evan
humanity.
to go with me. I usually convince Evan to go against me.
Yeah.
You convinced yourself to go against yourself a few minutes ago. You just said, wait a second, that whole thesis I had was based on the opposite of what I said, so I should pick the other team. I base my picks on nothing, and you base yours on just the opposite information of what's true.
Opposite of what you just said
Yes.
5 minutes ago.
It's insane. All right.
Eric, who do you have?
But I caught it.
You did. Just in time.
Just in
But
time.
You had it penciled in, but
Just before I
You
locked
had
it
us in the
you,
first half.
you didn't take your finger off the chess piece
No, I
yet.
did not. No, I
So,
did not.
the move
I think
did not
I
count.
typed like B-I. I can say, well, the U is right next to the I on the QWERTY keyboard.
You don't have to make excuses. We've already accepted your switch.
Eric, who you got?
I'm taking the Seahawks against my better judgment. The Seahawks played the Bengals a couple weeks ago. I picked them to cover, and they absolutely should have, but Geno just kept blowing it in the red zone. So I'm hoping he doesn't do that again. But I still like this Seahawks team a lot, and I think that they can score at home. 3.5 is a little bit of a hang-up, but hey, man, scared money don't make money, so let's go for it.
Oh. Speaking of scared money, 425 Ravens minus 8.5 points at the Cardinals. The Ravens should win this game by more than they beat the Lions by, to be honest.
Well, yeah.
They
One
should.
would hope.
They should, right? But,
But will they?
no, they're not. Arizona.
If you've got the Eagles by 400, you should have the Ravens by like 700.
I should, right? And, if they play how they're capable of playing, then yeah, they're going to smash the Cardinals into a fine dust. But,
I don't have to emotionally
They get a
hedge
case
for
of the
these games,
drops,
so I am very
and,
solidly on the Ravens.
you start going for it on fourth down foolishly, or, let's go for
I'm
two.
nervous because I'm a little nervous because of the inconsistency from the Ravens. That's the only question mark
That's
here.
their only consistency, is that they're inconsistent.
They're consistently inconsistent.
True.
But yeah, I'm taking the Ravens. So Eric, which one of us is going to be left on the lonely island?
It's me.
I feel like the Cardinals, like sort of that friskiness they had going on early on,
It's gone.
that's gone.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm taking the Ravens.
Alrighty. Chiefs minus 7.5 at the Broncos. Was it during the Obama administration the last time the Chiefs lost to the Broncos?
Something like that.
Yeah, it was
It's been
20
sometime.
It was when Peyton Manning was playing for him, or at least on the field.
I thought it was before that. I thought it was like 2010.
Well, last time that the Broncos Broncos beat the Chiefs.
Yes.
Well, no, Peyton Manning beat the Broncos or beat the Chiefs a lot as a Bronco.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But yeah, that was during the Obama administration.
Exactly.
So,
yes.
yeah,
I'm like,
that was a
wait,
little while
so
ago.
where are we?
10,000 years ago.
Yes.
I mean, Corey, you already typed it in, but neither of us have officially said, but I think the Chiefs roll, and I assume y'all do as well.
Yes.
Because, pretty obvious.
Eric's giving me that look like I'm going to have
No,
to
no, no,
erase.
no, no,
Okay.
no, no.
I was going to say, am I going to have to read?
I was faking it out. No chance in hell I'm picking the Broncos to cover this line. No way, no how. Chiefs roll.
Yeah.
Like, come on here. Travis Kelce is going to outscore the Broncos.
Probably, yeah. He's going to get 2 touchdowns, and the Broncos aren't going to score. So the Chiefs' defense is good.
Yeah.
Once
Right?
the Broncos
Yeah,
give up
the
70
Chiefs,
again.
The Chiefs' defense is actually
The
solid.
the Chiefs have. You could make a case that they've got a top 5 unit on offense, defense, and special teams this year. And I don't know what their DVOA is on defense, but in terms of
I'm going to
like,
look that up right
but
now
they're-
because I'm not sure if I necessarily put them top 5, but I mean,
But
they're
their raw
strong.
stats suggest that they are.
They are DVOA 4 offense, 5 defense, 2 special teams.
That's what I'm saying.
So there
though.
you go.
Yeah,
Eric.
like I knew I
Good
like
call.
my boy Nick Wright put that out there. He's a Chiefs homer, so I had
What's
to verify.
going on with his hair? That's too much hair for Nick
Nick Wright's
Wright.
hair is glorious.
He's rocking the flow now, man.
It's too much flow.
He used to have the shaved head where he looked like a huge nerd.
He looks so much better with this hair.
Yeah, his wife told him to grow his hair out, and she's kind of been styling him up, and he's better for it. He's a better man as a result.
I'm sorry, Rashonda. I know you've been trying to get me to grow my hair out. It's not happening.
But you have some hair. You don't have a buzz cut.
I'm getting a haircut on Friday.
Okay, but you're gonna have some hair left.
I will have some.
You're not
hair.
gonna
I'm not.
buzz.
Yeah, I don't do buzz cuts anymore. I used
Anymore?
To. Yeah, I used to just
When was
do
that?
buzz
I
cuts.
remember you
when
used
I
to
was
do
when
buzz
I was in
cuts.
high school and college. I did buzz cuts.
Yeah, when I was making fun of him in the cafeteria for no reason. Yeah,
I
did a
didn't
buzz cut.
start letting my hair get a little bit longer until I was teaching here. It was probably my second year actually teaching here that I started letting it get.
You
just
want
a
to be the
little bit
cool
longer.
teacher.
No,
The long hair.
I just decided it was time to try something a little different. You know?
Yeah,
Your shirts are just a quarter
I've
untucked.
been rocking the buzz cut since I was 10 or 11 years old. It's it's time for something a little bit different.
Never a buzz cut guy. I always had hair.
Bengals,
sometimes
Niners.
Huh?
Sometimes I miss it. It's a lot easier to manage.
Yeah, can confirm.
Yeah.
Getting a little long there too.
Yeah.
And no
I'm
shave either. What's
I'm
going
going
on
to
here?
cut it today.
You gonna play off beard here for
No.
homecoming too, or are you gonna
No,
get rid of
no,
that
it's
too?
all of it's got to go.
Looking a little scruffy, man. Like,
All the dead flesh growing out of my skin got to go. I'm not going to sit here and style it and whatnot with some goop.
The last 4 o'clock game.
Yeah, Bengals at 49ers. 49ers favored by 3.5 points. I mean, the Bengals were on bye. I don't remember seeing them play for a
It's been a
month at this
while.
point. So, with the recency bias or whatever, just give me the Niners. I feel like they bounce back, right?
Recency bias would have me picking the Bengals all the way here.
Well, the Bengals haven't played any games in a long time.
49ers have busily not covered.
And yet they've still been better in not playing than the 49ers have been playing football.
Had a glorious pick of the Browns over the 49ers.
Yes, you
that
did.
was amazing. I love
I
that.
still think that was a dumb pick. It was unbelievable.
They
How does
did.
that
They
even
won
happen?
outright. You can't call it a dumb pick when not only did they cover the spread, they won the game. Like they won it decisively. The spread was not in danger in the last minute of the game. I nailed it. I told you their defense was good. And y'all were like, yeah.
I thought the Niners defense was good, but
PJ Walker's got something.
Yeah. I am taking the 49ers in this game. The Bengals just haven't shown me enough, and the Bengals are not one of those teams that I look at like, oh man, coming off the bye, they're gonna be really really good coming out of the bye week. Like Zach Taylor isn't that coach
He doesn't
who's
strike
like
you as that guy.
who's like a genius game planner. I think that he's an okay coach, and we've talked about the fact that he's certainly earned some points from us for the way that he handled things against Buffalo last year. But in terms of his genius, his acumen as a coach, there's nothing special about him coming out of a bye week. So that's not going to give me any reason to pick them. And the 49ers, even with their poor performances recently, overall in the season have been a better team than the Bengals. And they're only getting a half a point on top of the home field advantage. So I'm taking San Francisco by a slim margin.
Yeah, I was thinking about getting saucy with this one and going with the Bengals, but they just haven't done enough to earn it. And
getting shiesty.
I think the 49ers last couple of weeks have been really, really ugly for them, but I can't just base it off those 2 weeks. I also saw what they did against the Cowboys. I can't pretend like that didn't happen, right? I can't pretend like the first 5 or 6 weeks of the season didn't happen for them. So, I think they bounce back and have a better week and they win this game.
Alrighty, we're all on the Niners. Sunday Night Football, the Bears at the Chargers, and the Bears are gonna win outright.
Ooh. You're all about Travis Bagent, arm wrestling champion.
I'm all not about Brandon Staley, right? The Chargers are incontrovertibly the better team. They're gonna lose. The whole is less than the sum of the parts. It's a disaster over there. It's gonna be full of Bears fans.
I'm going to disagree with Evan about the Bears winning outright. So, if he gets this right, he can still use it as his proudest pick, because he will have nailed it. But I am taking the Bears to cover the spread. 8.5 points
8.5
is way too much for me to give
against the Chargers
to lay
defense.
when you're dealing with the Chargers. and the Chargers are 2-4 against the spread.
The Chargers defense isn't good when they're trying. So imagine they're up by 14 late, and the game's basically over, and they're just running the clock out or whatever, and the Bears just take one to the house, and look who covers all of a sudden. Da Bears.
I frankly can't envision a scenario where the Chargers are up 14 late. Like, that's just not what they do.
Imagine that. Yeah.
Like, it feels like this is going to be a really stupid game, and like the Chargers always play in, which means I'm going to take the 8.5 points, right? Like the Bears easily.
How often has is it Matt or Mike Eberflus?
Matt Eberflus.
Matt Eberflus. How often has he been the better coach in a matchup?
Well, given that he's 31st on my list and Staley is 32nd, this would be the first time.
Wow.
That's where he is. I got the list on my notes, saved next to my coaster rankings.
Oh, nice. Where is the Raiders coach Josh McDaniels on their list? Did he make? He barely made the top 30. That's been confirmed. But
he is on the Butch Jones list of shame, but he is inside the top 30 safely. Like
at 29.
I think I gotta find it. I can't find it right now, but
here, Coach, all the way down.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, I'm looking for him. I got him tiered. He's actually at 26th.
Oh.
I'm probably gonna move him down to 27th though, because one of those is a spite spot.
Okay. You need to move him down because they're gonna get waxed on Monday night against the Lions.
Okay,
Give me the Lions minus 8.5.
You have to keep in mind that he's got some stiff competition in that bottom tier.
Oh, yeah.
Like, let's be real.
Ron
Arthur
Rivera.
Smith. Come on.
Well, he makes all the faces though.
Yeah, Ron Rivera, Dennis Allen, Matt Eberflus, and Brandon Staley. Right? So I think he's fine at 27th. Right? I think it's okay.
Yeah, it probably is okay.
I put Harbaugh in there out of spite for a week.
Oh.
After the Steelers game.
You put Harbaugh in the doghouse.
After that Steelers
he's
game?
putting people in the doghouse.
Yeah. I was like, no, come on, man. That was ridiculous.
Okay.
He'll go back in the what have you done for me lately category soon.
Okay.
But he deserves some doghouse time. Because that was ridiculous.
It was ridiculous. I got the Lions big. Good.
We're picking this game now.
Yes,
Okay.
we are. Raiders at Lions. Lions are favored by 8.5 points. The Raiders are garbage.
Sound a little McDonough-esque here, Evan. You're
Yes.
running out of steam here. All the leads out of the history of the Chiefs.
Yes, indeed. And he scores on the last play of the game. Unbelievable. Lions.
Trouble with the snap.
Yeah, the anniversary of that was a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, they showed the Surrender Cobra Kitty for the millionth time.
Who's a grown man now.
Wonder what he's up to. Does he have a job? I hope he has a job.
I assume so. Seems like a pretty nerdy guy. Corey's getting irritated. He just breathed in like, what, I'm about to yell at these fools again. Right? You definitely did that.
This is your team, Corey.
Yeah,
so
Lions
you
roll.
tell us who's going to win.
There's a big part of me that wants to follow, Evan's weekly ritual of emotionally hedging here, especially coming off such a bad performance. But the Raiders are so awful.
They're terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And
Who's their starting quarterback now? Is Jimmy G back or what's going on?
It's
Aiden
not-
O'Connell.
Aiden Considine, but that's not right.
It was
That's-
Aiden O'Connell.
Aiden
Jimmy
Constantine.
G is currently questionable. I don't really see a whole lot more news about his status for this week.
Did Brian
he
Hoyer
sucks
start
regardless.
recently for
Oh,
them?
yeah, it was Brian Hoyer last
like
week.
40
who
years
started.
old.
Yeah.
He was terrible when he was young.
He was starting for the Browns back when we started playing fantasy football.
He was starting for the Browns before they moved to Baltimore.
He was
Like,
Brady's
goodness gracious.
backup quarterback in 2009. I remember that being true. Because he came into that last week game against the Texans and it almost cost me my Pick'em championship that year.
Garoppolo is expected to return to the lineup for the Raiders' Week 8 game in Detroit, according to Adam Schefter. That was 4 days ago, and I have
Even
not,
more
I'm
reason
not
to pick the
seeing
Lions.
any more updates since then.
I don't think he's going to help.
In any case, despite the Lions' putrid performance this last week, I'm going to err on the side of they are 5-2 this year against the spread. This was hopefully the gut punch that they needed to, get back focused and get about their business. And their business would be beating the Raiders by at least 17 points. So I'm laying the 8.5. As much as I want to emotionally hedge here, I'm taking the Lions.
I mean, Monday Night Football, Detroit. When was the last time they hosted Monday Night Football? I feel like that's been a little while.
That's a good question.
I don't know. Like primetime game, the Lions are actually spicy and good and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The Raiders are garbage. The Lions are gonna smoke these fools.
Mm-hmm.
This spread could have been 18.5, and I still would have laid the points.
Oh,
It's gonna be an absolute beatdown.
Yeah. So,
coming into this season, over the last 10 years, Detroit has appeared in 15 primetime games, and they are 6-9 in those 15 games.
mm-hmm.
Okay.
That was coming into this year.
Don't the Thanksgiving games count as primetime games?
Yeah, do those count or those?
I don't know, but they might, because, I mean, over the last 10 years, do you think that they've played in, like,
more than one a year?
One a year, not including the Thanksgiving game?
No, I don't.
Probably not. So I would imagine that probably counts.
The Lions were playing on Monday night against the Ravens in 2013, but that's more than 10 years ago now.
Was that the 61-yard?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
There is also
Your boy Mike Tirico was on the call.
Yeah, Tyreek.
There's also in 2015 the game against Seattle in prime time, the illegal bat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Seattle doesn't play. They play weird games all the time. That was the tweet.
Yeah. Kevin Clark.
Cam Chancellor knocked the ball loose from Calvin Johnson.
I watched
and
it.
then KJ Wright just like swatted it.
Yeah, and they
through the
didn't
end
call
zone.
it. They let him get away with
They
it.
didn't
They
call
didn't
it.
care.
Yeah.
That is explicitly against the rules, and the refs were like, well, whatever.
I'm pretty sure the Aaron Rodgers Hail Mary throw was also
That was a primetime game, but it wasn't Monday night.
It
The
wasn't
Russell
Monday
Wilson
night.
one?
No,
Aaron Rodgers with the Hail Mary.
against the Lions.
Against the Lions.
Against
That was
the
a
Lions.
Ridiculous
Thursday night
face
game.
mask,
Yeah.
and Stafford kind of just threw his hat, and Calvin Johnson looked like he just died.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
I mean,
Anyway, Eric, who are you taking?
I said Lions.
Okay,
I said that. I just said that they should win by 18.5. So
Come on.
alrighty. So that's the Wizards lost 143 to 120.
So they did better in the second half. They only gave up 71 points after halftime.
I'm gonna have to go home.
There's
and
some
watch.
quick math for you, Evan. I got it right, didn't I?
You did. I was double checking. Like, wait.
This feels like the moment when I guess in the office when Aaron first took over the desk for Pam, and she was maybe it was somebody was operating there, and they were trying to send a call in. They couldn't figure out how to do it.
It was Kevin.
Yeah, it was Kevin.
Kevin
Yeah,
was
and,
trying to forward
and
the
he
call.
finally does it, and like you're celebrating right now because you did some math.
My maid died.
Yeah, and I'm just sitting here like the Wizards gave up 143 points, and you're like, yeah, I did math, awesome. I'm just like, man, this is why y'all. I'm proud of you guys for not rooting for a basketball team in addition to all of this, because this is just pathetic stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, take a look at this box
All right.
score. and
Corey,
make
you
myself
typed in La Lions for Eric.
The Little Lions. Yeah,
Yes.
he's picking the Little
2L
Lions. Yeah.
Lions.
Wouldn't that be the Lions?
If we're talking in Spanish, yes, but this dumb team, you gotta be kidding me. You get blown out by 23 points.
I'm impressed that they only lost by 23 when they gave over 140.
I mean, I figured they'd be able to score some points this year. Let's see, who did what? Jordan Poole, 7 of 18 from the field, not great.
7 of 18.
0 for 6 from 3-ball land. He had 4 turnovers. Was a minus 12 for the game, so comparatively speaking, not too bad.
yeah, he was +8 compared to the rest of the team.
That's not good math. They lost by 23.
Oh, I thought you said 20.
I said 12.
And
And
that's
that's still.
I thought you said that they lost by 20.
They lost by 23.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't listening to either of you.
They gave up. They scored
So
120.
minus 15 compared to the rest, or plus 15 compared to the rest of the team.
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah. Anyway, who else did stuff? Kyle Kuzma. He had 25 points. He actually looked like he had a solid game. He was only a minus 10. Good for
I
him.
get Kyle Kuzma confused with Pete Kozma, who played for the Cardinals.
Those are.
You ain't
they don't play the same
Kuzma
sport.
unless you pee your pants.
That is a completely different reference that has nothing to do with this and weird.
This is very weird.
Yeah.
This is our show.
Yes. So this team sucks.
See
What
when
else
we
is
get
there
close
to
to
say?
the end, but we don't just wrap it up. This is what we do.
I was trying to wrap it up, actually.
You had to bring up the Wizards, and now I'm in a bad mood. So go ahead and finish.
Are you surprised that the Wizards suck?
Of course not. I told you last week they were gonna suck.
Now you're all salty they lost. It's like, well...
Yeah, it's a dumb team. I'm allowed to be upset at
They've
my
been
team.
a dumb team for 60 years.
My whole life. Yes, I know. I'm aware.
Like most of our parents' lives.
Yeah, they won one championship and had a little bit of something going in the 70s, but that's it. They suck. Mm-hmm. They're always gonna.
Yes. Alright. Do we have any more YouTube comments or anything?
Nope. But somehow we still have all 4 listeners right now.
They fell asleep with the computer on.
Hey, we're holding people's attention with all our nonsense.
No, they
Possibly.
yeah, no, they fell asleep. If you made it this far into this assorted foolishness, go ahead and smash that subscribe button on your podcatcher of choice. If we're not on your podcatcher of choice, please reach out to us and let us know. We are currently where you're listening right now. In addition, we're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Amazon Podcasts. You can send us an email, thesportsballers@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter @sportsballers18. You can like our Facebook page. You can follow Corey on Twitter @CoreyPuffett. You can follow Eric on Twitter @Quagmire67. Follow me on Twitter @Evan_Ash13. And subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, because, more than a quarter of a dozen people are currently watching that for some reason. Any shout-outs, anybody? I, of course, forgot again.
I'll give you a chance to kind of think about it because I got a couple of shout-outs. So I'm going to start with a shout-out to Andrew Eck and Ian Clark. Ian Clark is a sophomore at DeMatha, and you guys know Andrew Eck, class of 2011, faculty member at DeMatha. Andrew came up to me the other day and was like, "Hey, how would you like to be the moderator of club?" And my first reaction was thinking in my head, like, dude, I already do too many things.
You
like,
do everything
else.
else.
How am I going to put a club on top of that? And then he's continued and not have to do anything. I was like, "You've caught my attention. Tell me more." He's like, "So I got a kid who's trying to start an ultimate frisbee club, and of course I am a big.
That's
I love
your
ultimate
thing,
disc.
yes.
Like if there was a team that I was going to coach outside of cross country in the fall, it would probably be to try and start an ultimate frisbee team at DeMatha in the spring. I don't really have time to actually coach a team. I also don't know enough about ultimate frisbee to be a coach for the team.
Sure you do.
But I love being around it. So I was like, all right, tell me a little more. He's like, so this kid Ian Clark, he's already got permits for fields. He's already got coaches lined up. He's already got a parent lined up to help out. He's already pretty much gotten everything done. So all you have to do, he just needs a faculty member to put their name on the club as a moderator, because you have to have that to start a club at DeMatha. It's like, all right, well, if it ends up being, where it's a lot more work than I think it is and I don't have time for it, then, I might have to pull out of that, but let's go ahead and do it. So, kid had an interest meeting the other day. I booked the room for him, but other than that, I showed up, he ran the show. Mm-hmm. And so I'm excited to hopefully be able to be a part of that, because it's a really cool sport.
You're gonna play with the kids?
I probably wouldn't do that. I mean, maybe occasionally if I went out to a practice, I might help just kind of throw the frisbee, because I'm pretty good at that part of it. But I'm probably not gonna really be playing with them. But they'll be practicing
used to play with us.
Well, yeah, but this will probably be a little bit different.
He could toss
particularly if they're actually gonna schedule games. So it just depends. I don't know exactly what it's going to look like. But in any case, I'm excited about that. My other shout out is just to my cross country team, because we're getting ready for the championships this Saturday. Mm-hmm. Defending champions. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a long shot to defend that title this year, because there's some other teams have really taken a big step forward, and we lost a lot of seniors from last year's team. I think that we're still competitive, but it's going to be tough to actually win, but I'm still excited to see how these guys do. I think that last year we peaked a little bit early, honestly. This year I feel like we're peaking at the right time. So if there is an opening that any of those other teams give us, I feel pretty confident that we can take advantage of that. So I'm excited for these guys.
Is the championship course more difficult than Lake Fairfax was?
This is a pretty easy course. The footing is a little bit uneven. There's a lot of divots in the grass over there.
And in the road.
Lake Fairfax had a stream. Just...
But my point is that outside of those divots, it is pancake flat. There's no hills.
Oh.
There is not a hill anywhere on that course.
I know, because I was there.
The course that we were at between moving from Lake Fairfax and now going to Kenilworth Park in D.C. was at Bull Run Regional Park in Centerville. That was a fast course, but it had everything you want. It had a steep hill, it had a steep downhill, it had long gradual up and down hills. It had a part of the course. They didn't have a river, but they did have a part of the course where if it rained leading into championships, which this is the first year ever that it's not going to, it would get super muddy. So it had almost all the elements that you could want in a cross country course, and yet it was still fast, which is nice for a championship course.
Oh, I mean, there was one race where one of our guys had his shoe get sucked off in the mud, and like he stopped to go get it.
Well, either my junior or senior year, so this is after you were gone, but Connor Ford finished the race and he was missing both of his shoes and both of his socks were halfway off his feet. Like literally his heels were not in his socks.
Oh, wow.
Connor Ford was a massive chucker when we played basketball together in middle school.
Is that a good or bad
It's a
thing?
terrible,
It's a terrible thing.
He takes too many shots. He just threw up every
Shoot or
3
shoot, man.
Well, shooters need to make sometimes too, though.
Oh, okay.
You didn't do a whole lot of that.
Yeah.
He tried out for the basketball team his freshman year.
Yeah, how'd that work out
I
for him?
don't think he made it.
Of course he didn't. I could have told you that because I was better than him, and I
I
wasn't.
admire
gonna
the
make any
confidence, though. You know?
He wound up being a pretty good cross country runner though. Especially like his senior year, he was on varsity, ran well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Team. Yeah, well, good for him.
Yeah, and then another kid in that race got swept down the river.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Who was this?
Drew Graham, remember, in 2006?
At Lake Fairfax?
No, at somewhere else.
You're thinking of Oktoberfest.
Sure.
Yeah.
It was pouring rain, and this might have been the week after Shaperhead.
I'm trying to remember the name of the location that we were at, but I'm pretty sure you're thinking of Oktoberfest. This
Sure.
was the same meet where like I got launched into the air off the starting line.
Okay. You know, I didn't see the beginning of the race. I was parts unknown. Both those guys still finished ahead of me, right? The guy with no shoes and the guy who got swept down the river still finished the race before I did. But yeah. Any shout-outs, Eric? I have thought of one. So.
Oh, excellent! After 20 minutes there.
Yeah.
I'm glad,
After,
glad you.
filibustering.
Yeah, glad,
I was trying to help him out.
you
Oh,
helped
he
him out a
actually
lot.
thought of
Shout out to the the NBA crew for being back. You know, best studio show on TV other than maybe part of the interruption. It's good to have them back. They were a lot of fun. As always, Charles Barkley is awesome. Shaq is awesome. Ernie, your boy from Georgia, is awesome. Kenny the Jet Smith is awesome. TNT. Kevin Harlan, your boy, is great. So yeah, it was good to have them back. Good to have the NBA season back, mainly for the basketball, but also because of them, because they rule. And every Thursday, your boy will be watching Inside the NBA, staying up way too late.
So, best studio show is definitely Late Night Sports Center with Scott Van Pelt after Monday Night Football.
I mean, I love SVP, but it's not Inside the NBA.
The shout out I thought of, shout out to my sister, Farron Ash. She came down to visit me this past Saturday.
You just thought of this? Like it took you 20 minutes to shout out your sister? You didn't have that one in the hopper ready to go?
How has she been?
No.
Does she want to? Last week would have been the perfect week to kick our ass in picks, but does she want
Probably.
to come back on like a week where maybe we can actually do well and she can still beat us?
I would assume so, yeah.
And be mad at us for abandoning the Durs?
I mean, I don't blame y'all for that.
I want to hear her reaction to us calling them the Durs.
With the Manders. Anyway,
Pretty sure it's just gonna be the Urs
the Ers, or just the
or
Z.
the Dur.
Appropriate. Yeah.
Yeah. She is a minister, so she came and performed a house blessing on my new place on Saturday.
Nice.
So, thank you for that. I have some extra protection, I guess.
Don't have to worry about any ghosts.
A place that they're going to have to carry you out of in a box,
Yes,
apparently.
exactly.
You're just going to live there for the rest of your life.
Forever.
Never gonna move?
Never leaving. No.
All right, good for you.
Why? Worked my whole life to get to this point. I'm just going to, all right, let's get out of here. Like, no.
Okay.
No. So yeah, let's get out of here. This podcast has gone on way too long. So
those four have definitely fallen asleep because that number has not changed.
oh yeah, they're AFK.
My parents said they're still there, so.
Well, thank you
Shout
to
out.
them.
Oh
Yeah.
okay.
So that sat 4 is way more of a 5. I'm assuming they're not listening on separate devices.
Probably not.
That'd be kind of silly.
That'd be
It would be appreciated. We would appreciate that for our analytics, but
Yeah.
not that we
25%.
really care
our
about our
analytics. Yeah, we're gonna, going from 4 to 5 is really gonna break the bank.
I mean, that's a 25% increase. See,
Yeah.
more correct math from your boy.
Yeah.
Doing really
I
good.
just said that, but yeah, let's get out of here. So for Corey and Eric, I'm Evan. This has been the Sports Ballers Podcast. Thank you all so much for putting up with us. Not even listening, just hanging around.